Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special Monday Night in America here on NDB Media. It is a glorious, glorious evening. I'm sure the baseball fanatics are having a blast right now watching the home run derby, and tomorrow is going to be the All-Star game. But screw that. We have our own All-Stars here. We're going to have our own game. We're going to have our own event tonight. It is July 12th. 2021, and it is a glorious time in the world of Star Trek, science fiction. I don't know if you gentlemen saw it, but the news dropped. Star Trek Lower Decks, 1 month from today. Looking forward to it, second season. Which I'm sure my co-hosts and guests here are going to say, yeah, we've known about that since May, Raj. I just found out about that today, so I'm real excited. It's news to me. Ladies and gentlemen, want to welcome everyone. Of course, you know who I am. I'm the one with the gas. I can speak forever. Over to right there, my right, is Michael Day, the one responsible for many of the shenanigans here on NDB Media. And, of course, one of our recurring guests, dare I say heroes, for some of the stuff that he does on a regular basis, both on screen and off screen. That is Randy Landers. And another one, our glorious guest today, Ross. I'm going to have to ask you to pronounce your last name, young man, because I'm going to butcher it.
Trowbridge.
Trowbridge. Did I get it right, maybe?
Yes, close enough. If it begins in T and ends in bridge, I will answer to it.
Fair enough.
Trowbridge, Trowbridge, Throwbridge, Thornbridge, yeah. I've been called all of those.
Ooh, Thornbridge. There's a blue blood in there. It's all good.
Trowbridge is most common.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So we will be going over some of the background on where the name comes from. But for now, he's like, what? Ross is like, what are we talking about here? Hey, you never know. Maybe we'll go into the where the name came from. But ladies and gentlemen, we already have our first like. It's All Tower Media. I want to thank everyone. Don't forget, folks, if you can get us to 30 likes, we will be giving out a $5 gift card. If we get to 40, another 5. And if we get to 50, we'll double it. Meaning we'll give a 5, and a 10. I'm not doubling the first 5s. There'll be 3 prize winners tonight. So we only need 29 more to go. We did establish a record just last week. We rightfully earned it back from all the programs. Over the last few months, there's been a competition between all the programs, and I've been the fortunate one. I've been getting most of the likes, but DA Verse took it away for about a month, and I have it back. So we have 32 likes as our record. If we can blow them away, I'll give out more money, no problem. So, folks, make up those fake accounts, and let's have the likes. So, anyway, we're going to get to it right now. So, folks, as I mentioned, a lot of stuff going on. So, we're going to get to it. Ross, thank you for joining us. You've been on this program indirectly several times already.
Very I've typed a few things here.
Oh, just a few things. Actually, dude, you were Johnny on the spot, man. Had quite a bit of information and joined the conversation. It was a lot of fun. Ross, why don't you tell us what your association with Mr. Landers is and that glorious product out from, Kentucky?
Well, Randy's a man that casts a very wide net. I'm actually from Utah. And back in, 2015 or so, 2014, the local Star Trek club that I'm in Utah, put out a couple Star Trek fan films, Starship Rendezvous.
Oh.
And I was more involved with those than I am with Randy's. I didn't just do the effects. I also did the editing. I was behind the camera for most of it. And it was just a group that came together and we thought, hey, we've got the talent here. Let's see if we can do this. And I think we did a pretty good job. So we did 2. One is Starship Rendezvous, the game, where our ship invites a Klingon over for a game of poker. And that was our test run just to see if we could pull the thing off. Yeah. And then we did Starship Rendezvous, the Inquiry, where it's basically a board of inquiry aboard the ship because the captain's been accused of mistreating some prisoners. And it's the whole backstory. It's done seriously, but it has kind of a twist at the end that's kind of fun. And so I had done those. And somehow, I guess Randy saw one of those and was desperate for an animator at the time.
When am I
So-
not desperate?
So he contacted me and said, would you help me out just once? I said yes, just once. And I've been helping him out ever since 2015.
Wow, excellent. Yeah, it's all good. Randy, just out of curiosity, how many years have we known each other now on Facebook?
You ask this every time. 6?
No, on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Maybe 6 hours.
Hours? How about?
Oh!
Oh yes, because obviously I've asked Randy over the years because we've known each other a little while on the internet, but I don't know what happened. I was at work. I fully admit it, and the new Facebook thingy is suggesting names, and I saw Randy Landers. I'm like, oh, what the heck? Click. Not 15 seconds later, I got a little red note saying accepted. I'm like, wow, that was impressive. That was impressive.
He never answers me that fast.
You see, Michael, I knew I'd get him in trouble. I knew it.
He's in a different. You're both in different time zones. Y'all need to fix that. Y'all need to be.
Okay. So is it a temporal rift or a temporal incursion that causes these problems?
I don't know. I would say it's somebody's government somewhere.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That's another program that we were doing, but that's neither here nor there. Oh, wow. So, Ross, tell us. You've been involved for several years now. You are an animator then, correct?
Yeah, it's been a hobby for a long time. I've been playing with 3D animation since, late 80s on an Amiga. I was a Commodore person, started with the VIC-20, went through Commodore 64s, then found the Amiga. And that was my computer of choice. There was an old program called Imagine 3D. And that's where I learned the basics of animation. I've never been a good modeler, but I've always enjoyed animating. And so once I made the switch over to PC, then I needed to learn something else. And ended up learning electric image animation system. So it's kind of an old school animation program, but it's still around and still being updated. And that's what I still use today.
Wow, excellent. I have a question. I have it right now. We received another like, Timoteo, if I remember correctly, as well. An unofficial assistant from a prior program. Also provided us a lot of help, if I'm not mistaken. Good evening from, I believe it's Center Reach, New York? Long Island, New York? I think so. But thank you for joining us. We actually have quite a few people watching us. So, Ross, can you describe to most of us who don't know the difference, the type of animations? You mentioned modeler as opposed to what you do. Can you give us a description of that?
Well, a modeler, it's a very different skill where you're actually putting together the 3D object. That was my phone, sorry.
Oh. No, not at all. I was looking for my communicator.
Forgot to mute the silly thing. I'm not used to doing the interviews. I'm usually the guy behind the camera that gets to not be seen. But the modeler goes in and they create the 3D object, whether it's in 3D Studio Max or here where I work, SolidWorks is the modeler of choice where they build all sorts of different 3D objects. And they create the object that will be used to make the final image. Then what I do as an animator is I'm able to take that object, bring it into my program, make sure all the textures are on there, where we're working on the Potemkin series, or sorry, wrong word, the projects.
Shame on you.
Ross,
Yeah.
You are a welcome member to the family.
If I'm working on the Deimos, I have to make sure
Spoilers.
that ship says Deimos on it. If I'm working on the Alexander, I have to make sure it says Alexander, the Webster. Each ship has to get custom decals that I create and put on there. And then I take it into my program And what I do is just like you're in an actual studio. I set up the lights. I set up what's going to be in the background. In this case, it's usually planets or stars. And then I bring in the ship and say, I want the ship to start here. I want it to end here. In the meantime, I want it to bank or turn. And of course, they're starships, so we have to have blinky lights here and there and everywhere. So I have to set up the lights to blink and running lights that are on all the time. And then I set up my camera so the camera will pan and follow the ship or whatever it happens to be needed for that shot. And then I say go and watch it do it. And one frame usually takes anywhere from 1 minute to sometimes 4 minutes to render. And because Randy has a camera that likes to shoot 50 frames a second, that means I have to render 50 frames to get 1 second of video done.
Wow.
And he likes to monologue a lot too. So sometimes these animations are 20, 25 seconds long. So there's a lot of frames. There are times I'll set it to go and I'll just walk away and let it run over a weekend.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
That's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand is 1 second of an animation doesn't take 1 second to produce. I mean, it can be the whole weekend. If it's a very complicated set of models, camera angles, lights, it can take all weekend to do a couple of seconds.
Randy.
I would never presume to ask Ross for anything complicated, of course.
Of course.
No, just ships blowing up. That's it.
Like a firefight in space,
Yeah.
3 spaceships. Let's just shoot all each other. It'll be fine.
Or let's bring in every ship in the fleet to send off the Webster.
And peel them off.
Oh, that's right. Ross, so what you gentlemen are describing, I'm not sure if you did see it, but it was one of the documentaries. I think it was entitled Within a Minute or something like that, on the Revenge of the Sith, the third Star Wars movie. It was George Lucas. I don't know if you gentlemen saw it. It was a wonderful documentary. They took 1 minute of movie time and they did step by step, showing everything that was done. And it was truly amazing. Hundreds and hundreds of people involved in 1 minute. And Ross, you are overworked and underpaid because there are hundreds of people involved in 1 minute of footage.
What's this paid thing you're talking about?
I promoted you, remember?
Oh, there it is. Yes. A promotion. That's supposed to work. I know.
He's got the highest salary in Potemkin Pictures.
Wow.
Just
Now, is that
another zero besides everybody else, but it's a leading zero.
okay? That's funny.
And an Indian zero.
I was going to say, is it quatlus, credits, cubits? Well, what is it?
He's got like 8 zeros. I mean, I can't tell you how much I admire Ross for doing what he does, and Michael's done some for us too. I sit here. Ross will laugh at me because I'm sitting there going, I got the ship. Why does it look like crap? And he's like, well, you need to add textures. And I'm like, well, what the heck is a texture? I don't know.
And I just happened to have a bunch, so I shared them with him.
Yeah, he did. And I'm like, okay, I'm playing with it. And I've worked on it 3 times.
Wow. Ross, when you're creating, as Randy has suggested, 3 ships, maybe a space battle and stuff like that, are you also the one that's responsible for maybe the other effects that are in a shot, or you are just maybe the modeler, or do you handle what we see on screen?
If it's space-based, that's pretty much where I've been doing everything. So I'm doing the ships, I'm doing the explosions. If there's torpedoes flying around, I do the torpedoes. I can't remember the man's name, but he shared an image sequence of an actual screen-used photon torpedo. And he was somebody that worked with the production company that did Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
And so I believe it was from Voyager. It was one of their torpedoes. And so I can use that image sequence, and you just load it in like an animation, and it just toggles through each frame, just like the old little flip screens.
Yes.
The flip books. Same idea. And that gives me this perfect torpedo flying out that looks perfectly right. And then I can add glow to it and make it emit light if I need it to. But then I'll do that much. Randy still does all his green screening and things that are on the planet or aboard the ship. But if it's out in space where nobody can breathe, then I'll jump in and help him out.
Yeah, I am the green screen guy, and occasionally, like, what was it, the episode where I animated the shuttlecraft not long ago, and it looked like Randy did that because it looked like crap.
Oh, jeez.
But we were in the middle of COVID, so.
Yeah, I bet, but it's still amazing what you guys have been able to do. Now, Ross, of all the stuff that you've had a chance to do, it is a dumb question, but what is some of your favorite animation or some of the jobs that you've done for Potemkin Pictures so far?
Some of the favorites. Randy's gonna have to help me with episode names.
Okay. Please, Randy.
I think this one is the monolith.
Where
I had to do, it was one of those really long 25-second animations of a ship flying around an asteroid. And the asteroid had to have a mine on it. And so, I like Easter eggs, I admit it. And so the mine I used was actually an aerial view of the Kennecott copper mine just outside Salt Lake City. Big, giant open pit copper mine, but I was able to take that map and map it into this asteroid.
Yeah.
And change the color.
Peanut-shaped asteroid,
yes,
wasn't it?
It was kind of a peanut-shaped asteroid that had a kind of a divot, and then put the mine in there. So that was kind of a fun thing to do, just to sneak something in. And whenever I can sneak the rendezvous into one of his videos, that always makes me happy too.
Ross is a big fan of long, extended captain's logs too. Ask him.
Oh, well, as a matter of fact, he's already used, 25 seconds twice? I don't know if that's his number, because in Star Trek fandom, we all know it's 47, folks. But Ross, you seem to be stuck on 25. Would you kind of enlighten us what the 25 is?
Well, it's just what comes to mind. It's a nice, easy number to remember. I think he's broken 30 a couple times.
I have. No. The writers have.
I don't know.
It's my job to beseech upon Ross' generosity and beseech him to create a 39-second ship orbiting the planet shot.
And see, I think you're going after 42 because that's the answer to life, the universe, and everything.
Oh, that's right. Very good. That's very well done. As a matter of fact, gentlemen, I want to go ahead and get the link. I apologize we did not do that, but I want to get the link going at the bottom of the screen for Potemkin Pictures. I do apologize. And we're going to get that one going. There it is. It should be at the bottom of the screen now. Yep. I believe that one's right, PotemkinPictures.com. Folks, everyone watching us, we want to give several thank yous again. All Tower Media, Josh Jones, Timoteo, and, wow, my cousin, Patty. Thank you, Patty.
Hey, Patty.
This is my other life, Patty. This is Star Trek now. Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, Starship. There are some things we can say and some things we cannot say. But yes, this is one of my favorite universes. So for everyone just joining us right now, appreciate the likes. Of course, we have Ross Trowbridge. Did I get that right, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And of course, Michael Day. And, well, I'm the one that talks too much. So you guys already know who I am. But we're talking about Potemkin Pictures. Many, many projects that they have in the works. Really good stuff. You have to check out the website. Just the links alone. I'm not sure if I mentioned this last time. I think Randy did, but I'm going to steal his thunder on this one. The different web pages, for lack of a better word, before I get myself in trouble. Webster, Tristan, Demos, Marie Curie, Alexander, Kupak, Triton, Endeavor, Potemkin. You should check them out on the website. There's a lot of good stuff on there. For those of us that appreciate what Gene Roddenberry had the opportunity to put on the screen in the 1960s and carry it forward, is one of the reasons why we're here today. Gene Roddenberry famously said that he envisioned, after his passing, Star Trek being told again. Maybe a different Kirk, maybe a different Spock, but it would be others that would be telling stories. and I don't want to say a story, but stories. And right here at Potemkin Pictures, they do it. And we have, obviously, one of the gentlemen responsible and one of the ones that actually make it happen as well, and that's Ross. He does a lot of the imaging. Ross, what is one of your favorite ships? Whether you've had a chance to work on it, see it, or want to do it, what is something that you want to work on that you haven't had a chance yet?
Oh, that I haven't had a chance to. That changes the answer.
That was a jumbled question. Probably 4 of them in there.
Well, first off, my favorite 2 ships are the Refit Enterprise and the Defiant, the Miranda class.
Awesome.
In fact, our Star Trek club here in Utah is the USS Rendezvous, and it is an upgraded Miranda called a Cyan. There's an old black book called Ships of the Starfleet, and the Cyan class was taken out of it. And so it's basically an improved Avenger, which is an improved Miranda. It's like, 3rd generation. And that has been our club's ship for over 20 years, almost 30 years now. Long time. We've been together a long time. Trying to do the math. 1991 is when we got together as a club initially. We were sponsored out of Utah State University. So it was a bunch of college students and former college students that got together to form a club. And we're still doing things together today. And that's the group that did the Rendezvous videos, the fan films.
That is impressive. Randy, I have a family member on my side that is greeting you. Actually, it's greeting all of you. So
far, you have been a gentleman too, Roger. I noticed that she pulled you out of hello, gentlemen, and Roger.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Ross. But
you're behaving so far, despite what Randy said.
He was talking when I joined. He was. So I guess Patty got it right. She's talking to Randy on that one. It's all good. Oh, folks! Obviously, we're off to a great start right here, and we're talking some of the background stuff with Potemkin. I guess it's been tax season. Some stuff has been going on in my life, but you've actually just on. Let me see. Weren't we talking about last time A Voice in the Dark, Randy? From Webster?
Yes, I believe so. Let me pull that up.
I think it was.
We talked about the Voice in the Dark. That was Billy's Swanson's beautiful, self-written, self-directed episode, and it was just fantastic. Since then, we've done Faithful to Death, which is where I did my shuttlecraft. No, actually, I didn't. Well, yeah, I did. I did the shuttlecraft there. We did the Tombstone, which was a Webster production. We did 36 hours. And you interviewed both Kimberly and Alex Williams about that. That was a great episode, 36 hours. And then after that, we had The Emissary, which starred Alyssa Rice and one of our other non-major actors in Karen Fonville. Karen did a great job with it. Alyssa did a great job with it. And that's the kind of thing we've been having fun doing. Currently, we've got 5 in post-production, one of which will shock fandom. And I hinted at it last time.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you
did. That's all, but I'm not doing more.
So now they have to go back to that episode and see what you said so they can try to figure it out.
Yes. Hola, Patty. ¿Cómo está? But
she's a fan for life now.
I speak muy poquito.
That's impressive. That's very kind of you. Even trying to. Oh well, no, I didn't mean to say trying. Actually speaking there. Oh yeah, I'm sure she's going to be watching. Actually, it's kind of funny that I've been telling my cousin about all the stuff I've been doing for several years, and you know what? It just happened. A few weeks ago, it's like she had nothing better to do, and now she's hitting all of our programs. And I have to say, I do appreciate it, Patty, and it's a lot of fun having you on. Her wit, her comments, very sharp. So, uh, her first comment, she says hi to everyone, and already took a shot at me, so it's all good. So, Ross, there's 5 projects. Are you working on all of those?
At one time or another, I have.
Okay. And you were, of course, asked. You were asked once. Is that correct?
I was asked
No.
to do once.
Oh.
He said, "Could you fill in one time?" Then it was, "Can you do one more?" And then it was, "We're totally stuck. Can you please help?"
Yeah, to be honest, like
He's
we do
groveled.
have, yeah,
Oh,
we have 5 episodes in post production, and Ross has already completed the visual effects for 2 of those 5.
wow.
And I've talked someone else into doing one of the 5. And
You still have
someone
2
else,
open, don't you? Or
no,
do you?
no, because Ross has been doing one of the 5, and then someone else has just volunteered coming back from having done visual effects for us before, and says he's interested in helping again, and he's going to get one of the 5, so it'll be good, right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right, Ross? Ross
Mhm.
is sitting there going, I'm the producer of visual effects. So I need to have some more information.
No, this is me going, "Help! The cavalry's arrived."
I hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
That is cool. Now, Randy, switching over to you, young man. When you talk about the 5 projects that you have going right now, can you give us an idea of the timeline when we may see these? And it's not my intent to hurry you. It's just some people
He's
are.
hurrying you.
Yeah.
He's
Anyway,
right.
it's to give people an idea of how long this takes because, folks, we've admitted it. We've talked about it. This is a genuine labor of love, and it moves forward by the contributions of everyone, both on screen, in behind the screen, in front of it, above it, and all. It's Randy. I'm not sure if I've asked you. We've kind of danced around it, but how many people are involved in Project Potemkin? Maybe on a regular basis and extended.
I've lost count.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, there were over 90 actors on screen talent for Project Potemkin. And I just literally cannot keep up with it. I have a spreadsheet for Project Potemkin, and other people try to do a very good job. Tim has already logged on and has posted a couple of links to the Star Trek Expanded Universe.
Yes, and I have to get to those links. Yes.
Yeah. By doing so, Tim is helping keep track of them, but like it's hundreds of people, if not 1,000 by now.
Wow.
And it keeps expanding.
And when I taught school, anyone that was ever in my classes would tell you, Mr. Landers, he had 2 student names, Freds and Wilmas, and you were either a Fred or you were a Wilma. And because I'm just terrible with names. That's really sad when you think about it, when you consider you're a teacher, you're supposed to know every name of your students. And I'm like, I do, Fred, Wilma. And I did a lot of hands-on teaching and hands-on instruction, and I stand by my teaching, but I will not stand by my recollection of anyone's names. I can't even remember all of my cousins or all of Linda's family. I mean, I'm like, do I know this person? Randy, that's your first cousin. I'm like, oh. So it's terrible of me.
Randy, you're not the only one. Trust me. On my significant other's side of the family, this happened on in 2010. It was Easter Sunday. The family had decided to get together. It was the day there was a significant earthquake in Southern California. It was a big deal, shook all of Southern California, which I thought was funny because there was a joke whether my significant other's mother was in town. every time she travels from Mexico to here, there's a big earthquake. So everyone was looking for her. Of course, she wasn't here. But be that as it may, I just decided to start counting my wife's cousins. I stopped at 50, and I knew maybe 30% of them. And it's just unbelievable. So you're not alone, Randy. I feel your pain. I try to learn their names, but when they're all Jose or Maria, it's just difficult.
Well, yeah,
That was terribly insensitive.
that could be a problem too. You were asking when our next production is.
Well,
It will
I was actually asking, maybe you could give an idea of the 5 projects you have going on. How
Yes.
long do they take to
God,
give everyone an idea?
Opportunity was filmed probably in May or April.
Was that the live look-ins that
Yes,
we had?
some of the live look-ins.
Okay.
The big live look-in though was Leviathan. It was
That's the one you were in, Roger.
yes,
Looking in
yes.
was
Oh.
Leviathan.
Yeah, right now when you said that's the one I was in, I'm sorry. I will say that I find it creative that for the Nightmare Hunter, the book and the little thing that I have on my profile, apparently that's me. Someone found a profile shot of me, and that's now become the logo for the Nightmare Hunter, which I think is kind of funny. But
Oh, that's good. I like that. But you need to get some little horns or something.
that will be in the future books.
Okay.
For right now, people don't need to know who I am.
I'm glad Ross's wife understood my predicament with the name, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Marla,
I saw
thank
her
you.
comment too. I don't know how she does it. She's a middle school science teacher, and she gets all their names in like next to no time at all, and she has it all through the school year, and then usually at least through the summer. Once the next classes start, the names kind of wash out and the new ones come in. But it just blows me away how she can remember all those names. And she's taught enough years that we can't go anywhere without anybody coming up to her going, "Mrs. Trowbridge, Mrs. Trowbridge." You can't go anywhere fast with her. There's former students everywhere.
Yeah, I've got I've got former students who are friends of mine on Facebook, and
Wow.
I actually came really close to teaching one of my former students' child. So I was like, I need to move to Birmingham so I don't have to teach her child. She's one of my favorite students of all time, and I'm like, oh my God, I really feel ancient now. I'm teaching her children.
Randy, I feel you on that one as well. I'm about to hit the 4th generation in clients. It's about to happen.
Oh,
It's just something that is just unreal. For those of you that don't know, I'm just going to say, I've been doing it for 34 years. And the luck of the draw, I'm about it's the daughter. She is 17. She's turning 18 this year. She may have a job. So in 2022, I will have prepared the 4th generation of taxes. That is crazy, man.
no, crazy is Tim's family, 41 first cousins.
Right. I'm leaving that right there. Look
Tim,
at that.
I
That
hope you
is
take a
amazing.
cheat sheet with you to every family gathering.
That is so cool. My father was the 13th of 14 kids, and my mother was 4th of 9. I don't know if that's bored, but that's okay. I have about 41 first cousins. This is why I started an Ancestry account. Tim, I don't know, just on a sidetrack, I don't know if you saw this, but the episode that I did last week on NDB Media, I talked about, and actually Michael and I both talked about it, our Ancestry account and how we've taken the DNA test. So I've already mailed back my DNA test. So as soon as I get the results, I will be sharing them with everyone because, long story short, and I apologize, Ross, talking about me. We'll get back to you right now.
Not a problem.
No, it's what I do. You guys should know this. We are looking for a half sister, so we're belatedly doing that, and we're gonna try. But I'm going on a journey, so who knows? But anyway, this is really cool. I appreciate all the comments in the chat room. I lost track of where we were, so I'm gonna go back to the links in a moment, Tim. But this is cool, Tim. I'd love to hear your story on Ancestry.com. That is a huge family. because on my mother's side of the family, I have one uncle, and then on my father's, I believe I have one, two, three, four, five uncles. I know Patty will correct me if I'm wrong right now, but it's still a relatively small family compared to my significant others. I counted about 50 on my side. We added hers, and we shot up to 380. It's ridiculous. So, all right.
One of
Go
the
ahead.
questions that I wanted Ross to address was that I don't know what y'all expect the scripts to say when Ross gets a request from me. I've got opportunity pulled up here. To give you an example, it just literally says things like, what's a good one, Ross, for opportunity?
I don't know. I don't have the script in front of me.
Oh, here it is. Visual effect 8.5, 2 Corsarian destroyers. That's what I give Ross.
Oh, that's it. Just 2 Corsarian destroyers.
Yep.
No movement, not stationary, at warp, at impulse, nothing like that, huh?
He leaves it pretty wide open. I could, have them flying upside down, backwards, whatever I feel like doing. And so far, he's been desperate enough that no matter what I do, I can look at it and go, oh, this isn't really good. I'll show him anyway to see if he thinks I'm on the right track. And he's like, it's perfect.
I love it. I love it.
Next, move on. I'm not going to argue.
No.
Ross, have you done the barrel roll yet? Has a ship done a barrel roll?
Not for one of Randy's.
Oh,
I did take the Rendezvous, our little Miranda class, and fly it through a Romulan warbird. I did the scaling on it and figured that's going to fit, and that's why I had to animate it, and it did.
that is cool. Folks, we are getting quite a few other likes. Of course, as I mentioned, Altower Media, Josh Jones, Timoteo, Patty, Matt Chisholm, Thomas Whitney.
Oh, hello, Matt. I know him too.
Hollinger and Jill Whittle Jensen. I hope I did get that one correct.
Hey, Jill, friend of mine.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. We're up to 8. Appreciate it, folks. Having a lot of fun today. So, all right. What is one of the instructions that Randy ever gave you that you were just like, all right, dude, come on. I need a little more than this. Come on.
All of them.
I was going to say, that's a long list. Boy, I don't know, right off. Usually it's not so much what he's wanting in it. It's how long he's wanting it to happen. I'll throw out the number 25 again, since we like that number. But those make me cringe more than I need a 10-second shot with 5 ships in it, because that actually renders faster than a 30-second shot with 1 ship. And if I throw in a planet with an atmosphere and everything, boy, that really helps the time.
And I keep telling him, just save the ship and we'll just change the planet. And Ross is too much of a professional to do that.
No, we've got that set up too. We've got stock shots set up, or you can use the same front and just change the planetary background. You've done that a couple times now. But
I do. And it's easier because these are the really short episodes that, oh, damn, you've got me doing it now. These are the really short films that don't require as much setup and
exposition.
Like yes.
I was about to say, I didn't use the E word, and I'm not talking about that E word. I'm doing everything I can to avoid it. I don't want to get you guys in trouble because I love what you guys do, and I can't wait to see more.
Yeah, each production brings its own challenges.
Yes.
Now, Ross, can you talk about what you mentioned earlier? Like, say, a 25-second shot, and it takes you mentioned over the weekend. I forget the word that you use right now, but the time it takes for everything to
render.
Thank you, Michael. Please describe that to the audience, why that is a big deal.
It takes a while because the way this program renders an image is it basically looks at the light source and looks where all the light rays are going to go. It's called ray tracing. And so it's following each ray of light through the entire scene to see what it's going to hit, if it's reflective, what it's going to reflect, if it's going to cast a shadow, where the shadow is going to fall. And it has to do that for every single pixel on the screen.
Wow.
And when you're shooting in 1080p, that's a lot of pixels.
Yeah.
And so if you have a lot of different objects in that scene interacting with each other, then you can see where that starts to measure, because then you get the shadows interacting and you get the reflections interacting. Lights are lighting up more things instead of just one object. They might be lighting up several. The one that was rendering over a weekend, it was actually the 4th of July weekend, I had to render in different passes. So I had the ship for the foreground, but I also needed a planet in the background. And I play with scaling because I can't really scale the planet up to full size and render it out with the ship in it, because that just really throws the rendering engine off to have things that far out of scale of each other. So I rendered just the planet, and that was taking about 4 minutes per frame to render this once the whole planet was on screen. And that's because it's a planet that had an atmosphere, it had clouds, and the clouds were casting shadows on the surface, and the water was more reflective than the land, and the rivers had their own reflection map on them. And then there was another sphere around that was the atmosphere, so I could have the nice little drop off you see on sci-fi planets. That all had to be set up with its own lighting. And so that was about 4 minutes per frame. But then I had to come back through and render it a second time without the planet or the stars in the background, just the ship moving across, going into the orbit around the planet. And so then you take that, and it was 2 image sequences that I rendered out, and then you go into something like hit film, and you bring in the image sequences, and then you layer them on top of each other, and then your planet is suddenly right behind the ship where it's supposed to be, and it looks like it was all done at the same time.
And remember, it's 50 frames per second.
Yeah, because of the digital camera that Randy's using, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to admit, the footage, the live action footage at 50 frames per second looks fantastic.
Oh,
yeah, it does.
And Randy likes to think, oh, sorry.
No, Ross.
I was going to say, and Randy likes to think that my life revolves around him, too.
No.
Because right now I'm working on animations for him, but I'm also putting together, the comic books, that part's done, but I'm also doing a DVD of the local ballet school that I shot in 4K, and that's going to be burned out to DVDs now. And I'm also, from the comic book thing that I did earlier, I'm now compositing about 120, 130 green screen photos, where these children at the fundraiser at this theater got to have photos taken of them by me with their favorite superhero or supervillain. And then they picked a backdrop, and then, so I'm going through all those right now, saying here's the foreground, here's the background, Photoshop, let's remove the background I don't want. It's really hard to green screen somebody when the superhero is also green.
I want Green Lantern.
Well, we
Green Arrow.
Like Beast
Green
Boy
Lantern.
was there.
Oh, that would be great.
Oh, the Hulk? Yeah.
Not the Hulk. Green
So
Lantern,
it gets
Green
interesting.
Arrow.
Gamora was there. Gamora on a green screen can be kind of a challenge. But, so I've got these other things going on too. So I get pulled in different directions sometimes, but I try and sneak Randy in the cracks sometimes.
And I'm going to
have to go back and record that one little quote right there. We're going to use that one in our annual program, so I appreciate that. It's going to be good.
I've always got him a list ready.
That's even better. Tim, I want to thank you. There it is. How about a Green Lantern and Hulk fight scene? There you go.
If I knew that's what it was going to be, I'd bring out my blue screen.
Uh-oh.
But green was safer than blue.
Visual effects, I don't think it'll show, but that's what the shots look like before I type them up nice and neat.
I'm glad I get the typed version.
Yeah, you get the typed version. I mean, here's one that's even better. This one's 2 pages.
Wow, that is cool. And
they don't look so scary when they're typed.
They're certainly a lot simpler to read.
Oh, heck yeah. I want to give another like, and I appreciate it, from Mary Brindley Kaufman. She gave us
Hello,
a little-
Mary.
Mary.
All right. Who is she?
My sister-in-law.
Oh, awesome. Hi,
Several
Mary.
of the names you've read off, I recognize. Dennis Hollinger. I'm in the Star Trek Club USS Rendezvous.
Yes.
We're part of the Starfleet Command's 7th Fleet. Dennis is the founding admiral of the fleet, which is about 7 Star Trek clubs in Utah and southern Idaho. And so he's the man that pulled all that together. So we all look up to Dennis and love him a lot. And he has done a lot of work for the clubs.
On a side, gentlemen, we haven't done anything about the clubs in about 12, maybe even 13 years. If you would be interested in joining us, Ross and maybe Dennis, at a future date, it would be cool to talk about what's going on in the Star Trek universe right now, especially the fan clubs. That would be cool. I offer you the invite, and if you guys are interested, and gals, if you're interested, by all means. Hell, and this goes out to everyone and anyone, folks. You want in? You just tell us. And Dennis, is he saying thanks, Ross, as in good job, ensign, or?
He's the one that actually promoted me to captain of engineering. So
I was about to say Ross is a captain of engineering aboard the ship.
Fair enough. I was just being sarcastic by the tone, just to get my point across.
Dennis, something similar is how I got into this one tonight.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, Ross. May we hear the story? Because I would like to hear then Michael's story. I guess I should ring the bells. Court of inquiry in order.
No,
Randy, were you going to say something right there?
I was, but it's weather related. I may have to leave in about 15 minutes because it's about to be another big one.
it wasn't
really?
bad.
Yeah. All right, understood, Randy. Appreciate that.
Just when Randy posted one of the first, I think it was the first time I watched one of these with you, and was just making my comments in the chat. And I'm pretty sure it was Randy. It might have been Michael. I don't know. Said we should have Ross on here. I'm pretty sure it was Randy.
I said,
was it?
I said it, but I'd actually
super.
I'd actually talked to Randy about it before. We had talked about having you on because you were the main visual effects person, and we were having some of the actors on, and we need to get some of the behind the scenes people because they do so much, and no one knows who they are because it's just a name. But but a lot of people like to know these things.
I got tag teamed.
Yeah, and I want everyone, like, I want Tony Lunn on next, our music guy.
Please.
See?
Yes.
What a great show. Music.
Yeah.
It's just the more people understand what all goes into making a fan film, the more they realize that, holy crap, they're making films.
Yeah, they are. There is someone on Facebook who I have an affinity for. He's been on our program twice, and you'll know him. He was in Star Trek Enterprise. He was also in the movie Contact, and he was in Deep Impact. I'm forgetting the gentleman's name right now, and I'm really disappointed. But he was talking about movies, good, passing, and bad movies. In a way, he said, you guys have no idea when a movie is completed, no one gets what they want. Because when you have a whole bunch of people coming together to make this happen, everyone is involved, everyone contributes. And it is an incredible thing to have the product happen. No one ever gets what they want. But the movie represents a success that is not comparable to many other endeavors, because a lot of endeavor. Oh, I think I'm stuttering now, but there are a lot of attempts to do stuff that never ever come to pass. And seeing a completed product is truly a work of art. And this product has many daddies and many mommies. Is that fair, Randy?
Yeah, very fair. I want to ask a question of Ross. What visual effect do you want to do that we haven't given you to do yet?
Oh, And I thought I was putting you on the spot.
No. I put people on the spot. Trust me.
Thank goodness you haven't put me on the spot yet, so I'm all right with that.
The mean answer involves a Klingon disruptor and a certain crewman.
Oh, really?
I've seen you be an extra before.
Oh.
But no, I wouldn't do that. What would I like to do that I haven't done yet?
You realize you're writing your own episode, right?
I know.
That is a rarity, Rob.
I'm already, I've blown up ships in his things. Now, I've threatened to blow up other ships, even though he doesn't want me to.
He's had them fly through Chicago or something.
Actually, it was New York from the Stark Tower.
Ah, thank you.
I have a 360 image that's the view from the Stark Tower they actually used in the first Avengers movie, and I've animated ships and runabouts flying over New York from that perspective, which is fun. I don't really know, because I'm going to have to plead the fifth on this, because I'm afraid whatever I say will incriminate myself. I don't want to give him any other ideas. He's dangerous enough.
I am dangerous.
Uh-oh.
But I like...
Was that the confirmation that it'll buzz?
Wasn't me that time.
It wasn't me. I'm in a dead zone right now.
I will say I have liked when we've had multiple ships of your fleet together. I always like seeing them working in concert.
Okay.
When you have a task force or you have a pair or a trio, they're all in formation. I joke about, the Webster send-off when everybody did the split and fly off, really which was a fun shot to do. And it takes more time to set up, but the end result was satisfying.
It really was, and I can't say who contacted me or for what purpose, but they're like, we're going to try to replicate that shot. I'm like, go ahead.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do.
Gentlemen, that was...
It did turn out.
Yes, it really did.
I'm not sure the commentary you received after, but I know we talked about it. I don't know if it was the last episode or the one before, when you made it clear why it happened, and some of us missed that. And now looking back, wow, it was impressive. It was touching. It was smooth, man. For lack of a better word, it was.
Thanks. And then he missed the next shot.
Yeah, well, sorry. Sometimes I put placeholders in, and the placeholder becomes part of the shot. Just wasn't quite done the way I or Ross intended, but mistakes do happen. Even in the video, not only do actors flub lines, sometimes the editor will flub a line, so to speak. And one more question for Ross then. Which ship do you like to animate the most of the ones that we've done for Potemkin?
For the Potemkin?
Ooh.
I do like them all.
You want Ross to get in trouble.
Yeah, I'm going to get in trouble. There's no way to not get in trouble with this, but there really is only one answer, just because it's a ship that was one of my favorites before I saw the first of your fan films, because it's a ship that's been around a long time. And that's the Phobos class, the Deimos. I've got animations from 7-8 years ago of Rendezvous and Phobos flying together. So when that showed up in your fleet, that was easily made me happy.
It's a good ship.
The Deimos, folks. Can you guys give us a quick? I recognize that from somewhere else. It was known as the USS Montana, but I'm more than likely mistaken. What is the class of that ship?
It's supposed to be a reworked Lochnar class, like the original Enterprise went through a refit to turn into the movie Enterprise.
Yes.
And so the old Lochnar had kind of the same shape and went through this refit and became the Deimos. And I'd like the underslung torpedo pod, and just like the design of the ship. I always thought it was a very classy looking ship.
Was that Starfleet Battles, Ross? or was it the other?
I don't know
one?
where it came from originally. I really don't know.
Randy, do you mind if I pull up an image from the webpage on the
Go right
Starship
ahead.
demos? Thank you. I'm doing that right now, folks. Oh, FAFSA, or FASA, sorry.
FASA.
FASA, okay.
Yeah.
FASA, yeah, that's right.
FASA.
Oh, hey, it's all good. I'm going to be uploading an image right now, so bear with me on this one, folks. And so begins the awkward silence. I'm sorry.
Well, while you're doing the awkward silence, I'm going to throw something out here. One thing that has made it possible for me to assist Randy and Project Potemkin has been the willingness of so many different people to share their models online.
Yes.
I mean, I couldn't do what I'm doing if it wasn't for somebody else taking the time to have modeled the thing first and being willing to say, yes, you can use this. David Mitletsis has shared many ships that we've used in the Project Potemkin. And
He even designed one. Remember, we
didn't
saw
he do the Mary Curie? Wasn't that his?
Yeah, that's his model. We got permission from the person who did the first little model of the Marie Curie, or a picture of the ship, and I said I want that as a hospital ship. And I got permission from both the original artist who did the two-dimensional renderings, and then I asked David, could you make this for us? And he did. Wonderful. And Roger had a picture of the demo.
Yeah, I apologize.
There she is.
Yes, there she is. A fine ship. Really looks nice.
Nice lines on that ship.
Oh,
And
most definitely.
there's another modeler named Mark Bell who's on the 3D Sci-Fi Renders group on Facebook that is an incredible modeler. I mean, the details he does are just fantastic. And he's shared a bunch of different ship classes. He just did the Enterprise B. And so I have that now. And his newest one, he's working on the E. He's done quite a few. He did Picard's ship, from the new Picard series that I can never remember the name of.
Oh, La Sirena?
Yes. And so he's been a great resource too. And he just opens them up and says, for about a month, he'll let people download them for free. And then he blocks it behind his, not really a paywall, but his, what the subscription service instead of YouTube? Patreon.
Oh.
He has a Patreon page. So if you join his Patreon, then you can download any of them at any time. Otherwise, there's just a window for his friends on this 3D Sci-Fi Renders page that can grab them for a little bit. So very nice man. And there are several others on that same group that make models and share them. And of course, there's always trekmeshes.ch that has a collection of a few new ones, but a lot of older models as well. So there are some really good resources out there for the ships.
I mean, I love going through and picking one. Like we had when we were creating the Starship Webster, the group was sitting around my dining room table, and they said, okay, we're going to come up with a name. And I said, well, let's take nominations. And we took nominations. And then I said, okay, let's refine it to the top 3. And we voted. And then I said, okay. And then I said, let's pull up some models. And we were able to pull up these models that Ross is talking about and view the one that we liked. And we pulled up a Centaur class. Was that on? That's on Trek Meshes, isn't it?
No, I think that's David Mitletsis. Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of David's.
Pulled it up, boom, there it is, and they're all like, we love it. And I'm like, okay, we got it. And David's just wonderful in letting us share these models. I tell Ross which one, this is what they want. And next thing you know is, and you get the model, and then Ross, you still have to rig the models after you get them from him?
He models in 3D Studio Max, and so I have to convert it out of that format into one I can bring into Electric Image. And then I usually have to go in, the textures will go on automatically because they have what's called UV mapping that tells a picture exactly how to wrap around the ship so everything's in the right spot. So it comes through with that, but I have to go through and say, well, this one goes here, this one goes here. But he's got his system down so well that it's really easy to know what goes where. And so I can slap his textures on. Sometimes I do have to hide just a little bit because like he'll do all of his black as one object, and it might be a pinstripe on the side of the ship. It might be the name of the ship across the top. And I want the pinstripe, but I don't want the name of the ship because we're going to change it to something else.
Right.
And so then I'll have to go in and mask out just that little part of his object so you don't see his registry name or number. And then I can go in with my own decal and slap it on in place of it. And then we're good to go. And David's fun because he actually watches these videos and he's commented several times. He gets excited about them, which is always fun.
I mean, I think he gets a kick out of watching his models be used.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In as intended in 3D video presentations. I mean, getting a model and rendering it 2D, well, that's grand, but good gosh, when you see it in 3D, like what Ross has done with some beautiful shots, and you know, it's just got to be thrilling to them to see their model suddenly come to life.
And they put a lot of work into it, and so they have not just color maps on there. There are so many different bitmaps that go on and layer to do all the different effects. You have a bump map to give you kind of a 3D look on flat surfaces. You have a specular map. You know, the Aztecing you see on the Enterprise A in the movies, especially when the light goes across it and you can see all the individual panels.
Yes.
They put maps on there to replicate that. And so if you light it right, you get the exact same look. And that's what makes it really cool to see, especially as the ship's turning. And then you're seeing that those specular highlights change to match the lighting that's in the scene. So that's what makes it fun.
It really does.
If I may, I know we've probably lost him because he commented about this a few minutes ago, but Tim, when you do see this on the way back, every time you've been on with us, Tim, dude, you have provided us so many links, so many bits of information. I thank you for your assistance.
I do too.
Yeah, every link, everything, and knowing that you're also helping out Randy in some other aspects of it. I was going to comment that maybe you guys need to ask someone to work on a wiki for you guys.
He's doing that.
He is doing that, yeah.
That Star Trek Expanded Universe is basically a wiki for all the stuff that we are doing.
Wow.
I wished I had more time to create the spreadsheet like I did for Potemkin for each of our other productions. But I didn't have time to do it when I was doing Potemkin. I did it, I guess, during the COVID summer. So it'll take a while to get it done, but it will get done.
Yes.
Well, and then you went through Birmingham a couple of years when you had 1, 2, 3, 6 productions going on at the same time. The 6?
Yes. Well, 7 because we were still finishing up
Potemkin
in post.
Yeah. So 7 at one time.
Yep. I'm crazy.
Yes.
Now, let me add to that. Randy, you have a regular job, don't you?
I am an Uber driver, in fact.
Yep.
I'm a 5-star Uber driver with a cancellation rate of 0%. And what is it? There's something else that I'm doing. Oh, I accept 96% of my rides that are told to go to. So.
Wow. All right.
I only work 4 hours a day because I don't feel like working more than 4 hours a day.
And you have videos to put together, editing.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what he does as well. Randy, I'm impressed. I'm a 4.97, and that's difficult in a LA market. Let me tell you, there are so many finicky people, but I have a 4.97. I do have 100%. I've never canceled anyone, never done that. I accept them all. So we're commensurate numbers, but it bugs me. You have a 5.0. On Lyft, I do have a 5.0.
Cancellation gets me because I'll pull up and the lady says, well, I just need to go ahead and cancel because I don't think I want to get out in the storm. And I'm like, well, press cancel. Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, she doesn't want to hurt her cancel.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
I'm going to say, well, I'm going to wait here. I'm getting paid. Yes. Oh, so they pull that on you over there too. Yes, well, all right, fair enough.
I got one more question and then I have got to go because it's just about to get us.
But I believe we have a record for having Randy on for 1 hour and 5 minutes.
I know,
Kept him the
Ross.
whole time.
I must like you, Ross.
You're just desperate.
It's all good. Randy, go
I
ahead.
usually can't. I don't make it past 11 minutes usually.
12 you did one time.
You plugged your phone in this time. That was your mistake.
Well, I did. I plugged my phone in. I'm at 10% right now, so that's even better.
But it's plugged in.
I know, but it was at 4% when I started. This thing takes up a lot of juice.
I'm sorry.
But Ross, will the club, the Rendezvous Club, film any more episodes live action?
We may not. It just kind of depends. Right now, we're actually doing, or off and on, a brick film.
A what?
A brick film. Lego.
Oh.
We're doing an episode that's all done with Lego figures.
Oh. That sounds challenging.
The director from
Animated?
videos, animated, yes. We spent one day animating one of the scenes that takes place on the shuttle bay, which was all made out of Lego bricks, including a shuttlecraft made out of Lego bricks. And we have the bridge made out of Lego bricks.
You have a shuttlecraft. It's
Yes,
in your
we do.
garage. It's in your garage, a live action shuttlecraft. I want the shuttlecraft.
I think our shuttlecraft inspired your shuttle coupe.
Well, it certainly...
Because you couldn't have it.
I know. I wanted it, though.
You did.
I asked for it repeatedly, too.
You did. It's still in my garage, though.
Michael will tell you I almost stole the Romulan bridge controls one time.
Yes. Yes, I remember.
From Farragut?
Yes.
I wanted it.
He wanted it so bad.
Okay.
And now they wish they had given it to me.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
I don't know, Michael. You've got the photos that I sent you that have the shuttle in it. Do you want to pop one of those up to show them what we're talking about?
Let's see if I can find them now after I just lost it. Wait a minute.
It's all good. Randy, all kidding aside, I do appreciate that you always spend time with us. It's rare. You do not do these interviews often. And I appreciate that you did not consider this an interview. This was more of us having a conversation. And I thank you for that, Randy.
I wanted to actually meet Ross.
Yeah, we've never really met face to face. The only one I've ever met was Michael, and that was before any of this happened.
Yeah.
Well,
way before.
I'm not even sure I've ever spoken with Ross in live before.
This is absolutely awesome. I believe, Michael, you may have added it to the screen, did we? Are those it? Right
No,
there?
that's not it.
Oh, that one.
Or is
That's our shuttle.
Oh, that is it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. This was at Snake River Comic Con in Pocatello, Idaho. We took our shuttle up there.
This is cool.
Iron Man got to meet it. And this shuttle's fun. We actually got to have Vic Mignogna and forgot his name. Chris Doohan. Sorry, Chris Doohan were right in the shuttle at one point, having fun. They did a Periscope broadcast from it.
Okay, what is that?
That's our shuttlecraft.
Oh my goodness, Fairbanks, stay frosty. Well done. I like that touch.
Do you get the reference to Stay Frosty?
Oh, yes. Heck yeah. That is cool. Now, folks, I don't know. Let me see if we got it wrong or got it right. I'm certain that we're talking about aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stay Frosty, right? Yep. That was good.
And the snowman was hand-painted by one of our club members.
That was cool. I was able to see it right then and there. That is a nice picture. Hopefully, Michael may have another image or two. Oh,
I was trying to pull one up, and it was giving me problems.
Now, Marla does have a wonderful comment. Iron Man makes it look small. It isn't that small.
It's bigger than mine. It's
very
literally
brave of you, Randy.
Well,
here we go.
Nothing wrong with telling the truth. His shuttlecraft is what did we say, Ross? 3 foot longer?
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool. If you look at this image, that gives it. I was going to say texture. Oops, didn't mean to say that. It gives you an understanding of how big that is. That is cool.
And the lights pulse. It's not. That's just not a constant light. They actually pulse a little bit. And
I'm so jealous.
we had fun with it.
That is sweet. That is so cool. Stupid question, Ross. What's it made out of?
Blood, sweat, tears.
Yep, got it.
A few curse words. It's a wood frame with very thin laminate sheeting over the outside.
Oh, still
Pulled together by about 20 pounds of Bondo, if not more.
Man, is that to scale? Oh,
Yes.
and Marla says the dash lights up. So that is equal to the shuttle. The one that I remember the most is from Data using it in the where he went down to the Data used it a few times.
The El Baz is the one that was in Next Generation.
Boz, yes.
There's the inside.
Wow, that's a lot bigger than you would think.
And there's a back seat.
That is.
They have back seats. We have a jump seat.
Oh, okay. That is some cool imagery right there. That is neat. Bet you it's a hassle to pack that up and take it somewhere.
Oh, it is. I didn't upload those pictures, but it goes on its own trailer, flatbed trailer,
Right.
that we can jack up, and it has a winch on it to pull it on. It's on wheels, so it does roll. And then the nacelles, the little pylons, are separate.
Yes.
So you just pick them up and set them separately. And then once you get it where you want it to be, you'd lift up the front end and put it up a couple blocks, lift up the back end, slide in a couple more blocks. So it wouldn't roll once you had it in position. But we've had a lot of people through there.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Before I forget, and before we lose Randy, I do want to thank Randy because he allowed us several weeks ago to do a live looking. It was like in 1994 when Good Morning America did the live look into the Next Generation early on, and it was absolutely awesome. It was fun. We were doing our sports program on Saturday morning, and we were fortunate to be able to do it. I had a blast. My co-hosts, surprisingly, were interested as well. These are sports guys, okay? But they were into the Star Trek aspect as well. It was a lot of fun, Randy.
I appreciate you, Roger, for helping promote our productions. I really appreciate Ross for his visual effects artistry and Michael for his help with producing these productions. I have a dog crawling into my lap right now because we've had a lightning bolt.
I hear you. Yeah, you did warn us.
But gentlemen, thank you so much for having us on tonight. And Ross, I hope to send you more work to do soon. Where's the camera?
I'm not surprised.
I'll see y'all next time, guys.
Thanks,
See
Randy.
ya. Take it easy, Randy.
Yes, sir.
All right.
See you, Michael. I'll see Michael the weekend.
That's right, because we have a convention.
That's right. So you
Any
tell them about that.
okay.
All right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll talk about that.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you, Randy. Okay,
Yes,
very quickly, Michael, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we have a convention in Frankfort, Kentucky this Saturday. If you want more information, there's more information on our webpage, potemkinpictures.com. Randy and I will be there, and a couple of the actors from Webster should be there also. So we're going to have a little table, and we're going to be playing our movies and showing Ross's work, and answer questions, and hopefully actually recruit some more people. We can always use more help. You know, as we sometimes need actors for guest appearances. Who knows? We may even, do start another production if we get some more help. So, it just all depends. And this is the first convention we've done in a while because of COVID. So, and this is the first ones, I think, since the move up to Lexington. So.
Wow. No, that is cool. folks, just very quickly, even though Randy did go away right now, it is a labor of love what they do at Potemkin Pictures. And folks, I'm not signing off. I noticed that we have a few comments right now. We're here at the pleasure of Ross right now. If he would still like to discuss a few more items, we did not ask him. What a shock! We didn't ask him as to how much or how much time he would graciously give us tonight. So we are playing on your time, Ross. So I just want to let you know that if you're tired of us, just say, "Yeah, dude, I'm out. I want out." You can do that.
Well, the longer I stay on here, the bigger the chances I can get out of having to feed horses tonight.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm only
Understood.
saying that because my wife's watching this.
That is
So she
absolutely
has to feed. So she has to feed the horses, or
Well, she's been doing the horses lately, and I've been doing all the other animals out there. And we go out
oh,
together.
okay.
She's
She
been
might
a
have to
team
drag
player.
a daughter with her.
I do want to give a quick shout out, Wade Dalton. Thank you. We also received another like, and someone is on my page, NDB Media. Could be Mr. D.A. Roberts. I appreciate that. We're up to 11 likes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we already
Oh, cool.
have. Let me see. Right, I saw that comment. I love the schematics on Ross's wall. We're going to get to that in a moment. I want
Over
to talk
here.
about those. Yes, and then of course this is the one we reacted to. Daughter is already feeding, which is good.
Yay! Give her a hug
Oh.
for me, Marla.
Ron, we were talking about some of the comic book work that you were working on, but I don't know if we did that live. I
No,
think
we did
we
that
were-
before we went live.
Right. Did you, and you alluded to that about, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes ago. Did you want to talk about that or maybe even show the audience what we were alluding to?
Well, I don't have a digital version to show, but I can hold it up.
Like, that works.
There we go.
Yes.
The message. A few weeks ago, actually, maybe it was just 2 weeks ago, in Rupert, Idaho, they have a neat little community theater called the Wilson Theater. And they do a couple fundraisers in the community each year to keep the theater going. And it's a beautiful theater, outside and inside. So I went up a couple months ago with my camera and took photos of all these different superheroes. Superhero adventure, of course, you're going to have superheroes. And it's all volunteer. So it was volunteer people cosplaying as Marvel and DC superheroes. Villains, Penguin was there, Joker was there as well. So a lot of DC villains they actually recreated inside the theater, the Arkham Asylum. And then they had a throne for Black Panther. Every superhero, and they had over 40 of them, had their own little diorama somewhere in this theater. And then the idea was the kids would buy a pass, and every kid got one of these comic books. And as they went through, they got to meet all the superheroes and supervillains, and each person or each of these superheroes had something to sign on it. So they were collecting autographs inside the comic book. So once you get inside the comic book, I'm backwards.
No. It's good. It looks good. Wow. That is neat.
But once you get in there, so every single character that was at the event is in this book somewhere.
Oh wow.
So the kids would go around and collect all the autographs. And then they had escape rooms for the kids, and they had food they could buy. They had, it was Hulk and somebody else as the sumo wrestlers, the big, beefy, padded sumo wrestler suits so the kids could wrestle each other without hurting each other. They had a military convoy. So they would be escorted onto these big deuce-and-a-half trucks and driven around the Rupert Town Square by SHIELD.
Wow.
So, and this was 2 days that they did this.
Yeah.
And, everything was fundraiser for this theater. Nobody made anything. So I had to take all the photos and then was using Photoshop to turn everything into a cartoon look, and then had to piece it all together in Illustrator to make it a comic book. Then they printed it. And then my job there, once we were actually at the event, while the kids were running around with their comic books, was I had a green screen. And then the families that bought the VIP passes, as part of the VIP was they got to pick one or two superheroes or villains of their choice, bring them to this green screen and I took a photo of them. And so that's one thing I'm doing right now instead of working for Randy is I'm compositing all of these different images together. And I'm over halfway done with all the images now, but I'm hoping to have them done by Friday. And it's just fun to see all these kids and the looks on their faces as they're standing next to Spider-Man or Captain America. Captain America was by far the most popular this year.
Really?
But, Superman was there a lot. The Deadpool that was there was incredible. They had a dead ringer for Doctor Strange, another one for Star-Lord, and Aquaman. Holy cow. He was turning heads the whole time. Not from the kids, well, the kids too, but the moms.
Sure.
So it was just well done, and the organizer happens to be one of the other captains in this 7th Fleet I'm part of. So that's how I got roped into it. It's who you know. But, he had very high standards for the cosplayers, not just in how they looked, but in how they acted. And before every show, there would be a meeting with the cast first, and they would talk about, very seriously, this is what we expect of you, and you need to engage with the kids and, make it special for them. And so they looked good, they acted great, and it was just a fun event. It's a tiring event because there were 3 different sessions, 1 Friday night and 2 on Saturday, and each one was 4 hours long.
As you were telling this story right now, our likes went up. Renda M. Carr, thank you.
Hello.
And Jess Larson. We haven't done the salute for a while, and I do apologize, but we salute you and we thank you for the likes. And for everyone watching, our audience numbers are still large, and it's absolutely awesome. So Randy is not the pull on the episode. It's you, Ross.
I was expecting to scare everybody away.
Not even close. I have to tell you, Ross, our numbers are up. They're excited. They love what you're giving us an insight of, or an insight into. Let me let's see the porn behind you to your left, those schematics, as DA referred to them as. What do you have on the wall there, young man?
Are you familiar with John Eves? I'm sure you are.
Yes.
John Eves,
USS the Sovereign, amongst others.
I can reach. I'm going to try and point this way.
Yes.
These 3, I'm doing it backwards, looking on my screen. It's really weird. It's not
It
mirrored.
is, yes.
No.
No, it's not.
Those are all 3 images that he's done that he calls the send-off, which is the original Enterprise with the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
And
wow.
2 of those are autographed. He happens to spend a lot of his time in St. George, Utah.
Oh, really?
He's about as far from me that he can be and still be in Utah. We're at opposite ends of the state. But
Right.
we overlap at FanX in Salt Lake City. And he knows a lot of members of the 7th Fleet, and really nice guy. But he's been to FanX, and so he's autographed those. And he's the person you can just sit down and talk with. In fact, one of my best memories of these conventions in Salt Lake was I was waiting to go into a panel that was going to be his panel, talking about all of the production artwork that he's created. And he got there early too. And there was a Star Wars panel going on in the room, but it wasn't very well attended. And so the guys monitoring the door said, why don't you 2 come in and sit down? They just sat in the back. And so I got to sit next to John Eves and talk shop for 20 minutes until it was his turn to go do his panel. And just still have tons of respect for the man. I mean, so those 3 are by him. The little Federation fighter, the McCall down here, is from him. The poster up there, The Divided We Stand, that's from Star Trek Continues. They premiered that episode at FanX one year. In fact, that's why we got to meet Vic Mignogna and
Chris Doohan.
Chris Doohan. I always have to go through his dad's name to get to Chris first. And that's the image I've got set up to share. I don't know if you can see that. That's them in our shuttlecraft at Salt Lake City.
Oh, yes. Wow.
So
that is so cool.
That was the same weekend as I got this poster as they premiered that episode of Continues.
Wow. I'm almost certain that is his website. It's johnevesart.com. He has his blog, gallery. right in there. And I look, I love the USS Enterprise, the refit, the one from the movies. I think it's a beautiful ship. Some of the music that's been done for her is beautiful. It's just wow. But the Sovereign class Enterprise, oh my goodness, or the
It's
Enterprise
gorgeous.
Sovereign class. Oh, she is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
beautiful ship. Yeah, I said earlier my favorite two ships are from the Wrath of Khan, but the E is next.
yes, yes, it's beautiful. The layout. I'm not sure how much you have followed, and this is a tangent, but when you look over or the overhead view of the Enterprise, the original design had the pylons. I guess they're pointing away from the saucer. Well,
Uh,
in the original design, they
the
were
original
kind
they
of
were straight,
yeah okay.
and then they were swept for the A for the refit.
Well, on one of them for the Sovereign class, they didn't choose it because they said it looked like a turkey upside down. So they set on the design which they have right there for the Sovereign, which is absolutely awesome.
It is. It's
And
beautiful. He's done some incredible ships. I mean, because he's done more than just the Sovereign.
oh
And
yes, yes, you should take a look at his website, folks. It's really awesome stuff. Now, I haven't seen everything at Potemkin Pictures yet, but have you had the chance to work up a Sovereign or even the USS Enterprise?
I actually have about 4 different versions of the Sovereign. And the one I just got recently, and I'm on the wrong computer to bring it up and show it to you, but was by Mark Bell that I mentioned earlier on this
Yes.
sci-fi 3D images on Facebook. He did the Sovereign, and it is just, it looks like it came right out of the movie.
Yeah.
It's that detailed, and it's just wonderful. And it takes forever to render out. So I'm kind of glad Randy hasn't picked that class yet, because that's going to be a slow render. But
I'll make sure he does next for you.
I appreciate that. But yes, I
Uh,
love that ship. And
oh yeah.
it took me a long time to find one that I really liked. It was probably the 4th version I finally got. I think David Medlatzis did a version of the Sovereign that I finally really liked. But Mark Bell's it's studio quality. All of his ships are. He spends so much time doing the detail work and doing the research beforehand. So he's matching everything so it's all screen ready.
Oh yeah. It's just absolutely amazing.
And that's
What?
why I can't say enough about the modelers that are willing to share with those of us that can't model.
Ross, that is an absolutely beautiful comment. You mentioned it earlier, I think maybe once or twice before. We had no idea that you also receive. Do you want to call it help or contributions, assistance when they allow you to use those items?
It's a great contribution.
Yeah, it's a
And,
contribution.
some people just love to create. And for them, it's creating the thing and then wanting to share what they've created. And boy, I'm willing to accept that share. And a lot of them, like David does, he loves to see them animated. He loves to see what people do with them and see his ships in action. And so, that's a big thrill to see what other people are doing with it. And so people like that can't be appreciated enough.
No, and I'm glad you mentioned them. You gave them a little bit of play on today's episode, which is really cool.
Yeah, I'm a horrible modeler too, so I understand Ross. It's just I had, as I've talked before, is I was teaching an animation program to elementary school kids, and some of them ended up making models much better than I could even attempt. I take them so far, and then they would just explode, and I would go, "How did you do that?" "Oh, I did this, and it's like, "Oh, I didn't teach you that. Oh, I figured it out." Okay.
Yeah, I have some modeling programs, and I can push things out, and have before. There was a ship in the 7th Fleet, the original Kelly USS Kelly, that was the flagship of the 7th Fleet, was a modified Galaxy class. And the way they modified it was they changed the top of the saucer and they actually added 2 extra warp nacelles. And Dennis is here, so he has different feelings about the ship than I do. You know, he's very attached to it. The idea was that when the ship split into 2 pieces, saucer separation, the saucer was still warp capable. So that was the idea, but I had to model the entire saucer section for that Kelly so that I could attach the warp nacelles and put, because they were where the hangar bay would have been, I had to move the hangar bays off to the side. So I had to model it, and it took me forever. And there was a lot of Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, undo, 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 to step back and redo it and do it again. And you know, I finally got it, but it was a lot of trial and error. And then you see these people that they sit down and say, I'm going to model this. And the next day they've got it more than roughed out. And I would be lucky to have the cube in position saying, I'm going to start from this in a day. So yeah, it's an incredible skill set some people have.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Mr. D.A. Roberts asks, have you ever considered doing an episode with the Defiant class, which was mentioned earlier, but go ahead. Well, not this question, but one of your favorites, right? The Defiant?
I like the Defiant very much.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it looks so different.
Yep. It was not a ship of peace. It wasn't a science vessel. It was designed for one thing and one thing only.
There's an old video on my YouTube page, which I do have a YouTube page. Just look up my name. And it's back, oh goodness, 7-8 years ago now, called Fleet Action. In fact, this is where Michael and I originally met, was at Conduit in Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
And this 7th Fleet came to me 4 weeks before the convention and said, can you put together a video that'll just loop over and over and over and over and over and over and over that reflects the 7th Fleet ships? And one of the ships in the fleet at that time was a Defiant, that class. So I had to animate it. So I have actually animated the Defiant flying around, firing the pulse phasers, launching torpedoes, blowing up Romulans. I don't see it happening. Yeah, I don't see it happening with the Potemkin summits just because it's the wrong era.
Wrong era, yeah.
Right. DA does mention that he's halfway through Potemkin. How many episodes are we looking at, folks? 50?
It's about, I think there's a close to 50 on Potemkin, yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a bit on there.
I mean, and some of the newer ones, the ones we did in Birmingham, some of them are almost 20 episodes on like Demos and the Tristan. Those two were the most prolific, if that is, you can say that, from the Birmingham groups. And the Demos is still filming. They come to Kentucky in Lexington, and they, as I said, they were filming when Roger popped in live and watched us film. And that was the Demos group from Birmingham. So.
Ross, are you,
Yeah.
very quickly, on your page, was it called the 7th Fleet commercial, that video?
No, it's called Fleet Action. 7th Fleet commercial was just a challenge that I think it was Dennis, that if he's still here, put out originally to everybody in the fleet. Yes, I do like to blow up the Borg. But the fleet commercial was, they just wanted something that could be played at conventions as well, that would attract people to the 7th Fleet, to recruit new members to the different clubs. And so that's something I threw together very quickly just to highlight the 7th Fleet. And I used clips from several animations I had already done for other projects, and our fan film, and a fan film that one of the other ships had done, to get the live action moving around. But yeah, I was blowing up a Borg sphere. I did make that sphere.
Wow, now that is cool. This commercial is neat. I'm checking it out right now in the background. Yeah, that is cool. I'm going to look for the other one that you mentioned.
Fleet Action, to me, Fleet Action looks very dated. And it's,
really?
But it's strictly animations and music. There's no acting in it. It was just the idea was to attract attention, and I think it was successful because we usually had a crowd around our table that wasn't current members of the fleet. And Michael was next to us, and I think you, if you remember, you probably saw some of that.
Probably I remember.
Probably drove you crazy, that thing looping over and over and over and over and over.
No, if you remember right, I had stuff looping too. Yeah, so we were both looping at the same time.
That's funny.
We're both loopy.
Hey, it's all good.
There's fun stuff in there. My wife, who is on here, she is our group's costumer. And she can turn out a Starfleet uniform good enough that when we went down to the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas, they put stickers on all of us to say, these are not cast members.
Oh, wow.
And she did the white waiters' dress uniforms from Next Generation for the Admiralty, and they took them to the convention in Las Vegas one year. And the costumers there said stop and wanted to look at him so that they could pick something out that was wrong, because these were the people that actually, made them. And they said, go away, we can't. They said they were well done. And she's fantastic. She makes Jedi robes.
Ooh, you need that for Jedi tax?
And if you're looking through the YouTube page sometime, look at the Doritos commercial.
Okay, and just at this moment, I just closed it. Someone opened it up.
You don't have to do it right now. Anyway,
yes.
The Doritos commercial, Doritos for a couple of years was saying, come up with your own Doritos commercial and enter it for a contest.
Yeah.
We did that. And the premise behind ours was we had a Jedi sitting next to a Starfleet officer arguing about whose universe was better while they're eating Doritos. Meanwhile, there's people in Babylon 5 Army of Light behind them. There's classic Battlestar Galactica running around. There's Firefly running around. Doctor Who's there. Most of those my wife did the costumes for. Oh, and at one point, Commander Taggart walks through.
Oh.
So, we're just having fun. But it really showcases her talents as a costumer to see what was in there.
Wow, just on what you were sharing right now. Jess comments, Mama Marla is amazing. Yes. And DA, his comment is also apropos to what you guys are doing here as well. You can tell the production crew and the cast love the subject matter. Doesn't matter that it's not on the budget of special effects of the network. They love Trek, and that's beautiful. It's just the amazing thing, that you're able to do with a desktop computer now.
Yeah,
you mentioned the VIC-20. I remember that. I had one. I had a 64. Never had the Amiga, but
shame on you.
Mentioned. Oh, hey, dude,
I went through an Amiga 500, then a 1200, and I even had a Amiga 4000 at the work I had at the time. Yeah. I was doing desktop publishing, making service manuals for a fitness.
I had 3 2000s.
Now, I loved my Amiga. It was sad when I had to retire it.
It was sad, yes. I got rid of mine. I got rid of them all at the same time. I kept them for years, and then I just can't use these anymore. It's that I did not want to get rid of them. They were so high tech for the time. It was amazing what they did back then. They had color before the Macintosh did. A lot of people don't know that. But they had color, better color than the Macintosh did at the same time frame.
Yeah.
So,
well, it was doing 4,000 colors versus 32 or 16.
Commodore was ahead of the game. I remember. I don't know if you. Ross, you said you had a Commodore. Do you recall that there was an environment prior to Windows on the Commodore? It was called GEOS. Do you recall that?
Mm-hmm.
That was ahead of its time, man. That was in the late 80s, early 90s. And it was amazing. And it was the desktop. That's what it was. And it was absolutely phenomenal. I remember I was using Windows back in the late 80s, but it was called GEOS.
Yeah, the Workbench on Amiga was incredible, too.
Mm-hmm.
Amiga DOS. I know which one you're talking about. I saw that one from far. I never had an Amiga, but it was amazing what what was being done on those computers back then.
Yeah, the
Slow
very
as
first. Oh, they were, and a tape
Yes.
drive. But the very first computer I ever saw was a Commodore PET 2001, and it was a
Wow.
keyboard on a box with the built-in monitor and the tape drive right next to the keyboard, all one piece.
I was given a computer. I think it was a TRS-80, and I was just given a Commodore. And I was still in high school. But my first computer was a Tandy 1000 SX. I think it was in 1989 or 1990. And that one still had the 5.25-inch floppy drives. Two of them. I had twin drive. Wow.
Whoa,
I
you
was
could
able
copy
to play,
discs.
I was able to play Starflight. Did you ever play that with Ross?
No, that's not what I played. I remember seeing it, but I never played it.
Starflight was a cool game, DOS based, and it was Star Trek back then, where you would train your own crew and you would go out and discover, engage with aliens, and you had to increase your ship, its strengths and stuff by mining materials and trading with other people and stuff. It was really cool. Game was ahead of its time, man. But you were able to warp all around this galaxy, which was really neat. But anyway, I'm all over the place. DA says, I had the Tandy 1000 and the Trash 80. Yes.
I wasn't going to call it that.
Yeah.
It came into my head real loud, but I didn't say it.
I know. Yes.
Hey, for the time, it was great.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back to something you said.
I made lots of money with my TRS-80. I went into a business and I was doing data processing before any of them could. I brought in my TRS-80 into the office and I got paid a fee for them using my TRS-80, and I programmed everything and did data manipulation for them.
Wow.
And I was very young.
I hear you. Ross?
I wanted to go back, and you were talking about, the love of making the productions and not having a budget for it. When Randy first came to me and asked if I would help him out once, I kind of hemmed and hawed. I wasn't sure. I didn't know if I wanted to get involved in somebody else's fan film that wasn't my group. And then I went and watched some of the earlier episodes and went, they tell good stories. And that's what convinced me to go ahead and say yes and start helping out Randy. And it really has been fun since then. I give him a bad time about 50 frames per second and 30-second long monologues and stuff. But for the most part, it really has been fun. His deadlines are workable. This is my hobby. It's not my life. So I have to work it around real life. And I live on a farm, so there's a lot of real life to deal with. It's a horse farm. It's not a, get out in the field and plow. Otherwise, it'd be Clarkson's farm, the way I would do it. But there's a lot going on in real life that I don't get to spend as much time. I've had other people come to me, seeing what I've done with Randy or seeing what I've done with The Rendezvous, asking for me to join their productions, and I've always said I can't. I'm too busy. But I'm still here doing Potemkin Pictures stuff.
About 6 years now?
Yeah. Wow. I think 2015. And I signed on for one.
One project.
Yep.
One production company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I signed on for one episode.
I know, but I just said one production company. That's what it's been.
Yeah.
And now look where things have gone. But it's been a good trip.
It is amazing what Potemkin Pictures is doing. And there are other fan productions out there that it's just amazing. It's the love of the material. And I guess we're at that point. Ross, I haven't asked you your personal opinion, but the obligatory, tell me, what does Star Trek mean to you?
To me, Star Trek is an attitude. It's how we can give ourselves hope for the future by seeing how good it is when we can actually work together and do things together I don't want to get into political, but the last few years have been frustrating
Sure.
because I see that and I think we're better than this. And I go turn around and watch Star Trek and see people, that might be actors working off a script, but they're doing better and they're working to better, and they might have disagreements, but they can work through them and they can deal with them instead of just devolving into a shouting match. So I see it as a good future to shoot for.
Yeah. There's many episodes that you could point to, but Star Trek First Contact, it and I've talked about this before, and I'm sorry now I'm being redundant, but the key scenes where Picard speaks to Lily, when he finally gets her to turn the phaser over, and you see the reaction of Picard when they're talking about the shield, that, my God, that hasn't even been invented yet, and he tells her in such almost a juvenile exuberance, he says, I have so much to show you. And when you really give it some thought, no one has had the opportunity to do what he's about to do. Because of her and Zephram Cochrane, they exist. And he is going to be able to show her, look, this is what you do. This is the fruit of your endeavors, these first few steps that you take. And he tells her that later. When she says, I envy you to the future you're going to. And he says, no, I envy you. These first steps that you're taking. Ross, it's what you mentioned right now. It's a future. It's a future that is bright, and it's worth trying to get there. It is. It's absolutely awesome. Yes, it's a TV show, man. We know that, duh. But the stories, the places where we've gone, it's amazing. And to be a part of that, Ross, I envy you in every which way. Not only are you a part of it, you're contributing, you're making things happen. You're the one that's translating the images that are up there and making them for us to see. That is a skill. It is a gift, and it is awesome, man. I tell you.
Thank you. It's always fun to get some positive feedback. I do them, see them, think, yeah, they're pretty good, but it's fun to go on to the YouTube channel for Potemkin and see one of the productions. Yeah, that's a safe word.
Yes.
And read the comments and see, the comments that come through. And that most of them are focused, rightly so, on the actors and the storyline and everything. But once in a while, something sneaks through about the graphics, like the person that liked the ship splitting away, or there have been others as well that kind of make me go, yeah, that's nice. It's fun to read. So, yeah, I enjoy it. I'm like the modelers. They build it, they want to see them fly, and I like to see them fly too and see people react to what I've done. And if they like it, that's even better.
You've seen quite a bit of Star Trek, I'm sure. What are some of the images that you've seen on television, in the theater, that blew you away on some of the stuff that the modelers did? What are some of the things? Because I have to tell you, one of the very first images is yesterday's Enterprise. When the Enterprise swings around the first time, and it says we're ready to hold our ground, and then it was copied again, where she swings around and she releases a hailstorm of phaser fire. I was 21 years old when that happened, man. Oh my goodness, that is something that has kept with me. What are some of the images that you've seen that are some of your favorites?
The one that moves me more than anything else was Star Trek 3. Seeing the Enterprise burning up in the atmosphere as it goes across the sky. That was harder for me to see than Spock dying.
I did not tear up. Yeah, I did not tear up when Spock died. But when the Enterprise, yeah, I did too. DA mentioned Sacrifice of Angels. There's quite a few scenes in Sacrifice of Angels. That is one of mine as well. the whole setup by Bashir and O'Brien, the charge of the Light Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
You did catch it, right, Ross? That when Cisco says, "All right, nobody stops till we get a DS9," it's so subtle, but when the fleet moves forward, it's going downhill. And I caught it then. I understood it. It was the charge of the Light Brigade.
They were really hard on Miranda's on that scene.
Oh my goodness! Yes, they were.
But I loved it because people used that as an example of how weak the Mirandas were. And then I finally saw a counter argument to that, because those two Mirandas were right there with Cisco at the beginning of the battle, and they didn't make their charge until 6 hours later when they finally got destroyed. So they stuck right in the thick of the battle with the Defiant, without dying until the end when they sacrificed themselves. So they are tough little ships.
Yes. It is exciting. The Sacrifice of Angels.
Anything involving Tapestry, that's one of my favorite episodes.
Oh, do tell, please. I'm talking too much.
No, where Picard, gets the probe and lives an entire life. That whole story is so well done that I still hear that him play the flute, play that piece.
Yeah, the Russican flute, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the pronunciation.
Yeah, I got to meet that author at a convention that I went to in Georgia, and he actually had one of the flutes with him, and it was really cool. And he talked about it, and I cannot remember his name.
Tim, where are you?
I think he's gone.
Let me tell you that I think it was at the 1 hour mark, no, he left at the 1 hour mark. It was maybe 10 minutes after. Someone stated something, and I looked in the chat room.
I said Tapestry, Inner Light. I said the wrong episode, Inner Light. I got Inner Light and Tapestry.
Yeah, I knew which one you meant. Yeah, I knew, when you said
both those episodes.
Yeah, I knew which one you meant.
But by the way, Tapestry. Oh my goodness! When he comes out, you're not God. Oh my goodness! What an episode that one was. Tapestry.
Yeah, both of those were good.
Jeez.
Then the other episode that I've always enjoyed, for a very different reason, is In the Pale Moonlight, where Cisco has to basically sell his soul to get the Romulans.
When Vreenak, it's fake. Oh my!
And that meme still shows up on Facebook.
It does. That's right. It does. It was wow. You know what? I'm missing some comments, and I apologize. D.A. Roberts talked about it's in Star Trek 3. My God bones, what have I done? And I remember that. Now,
what you've always done.
Yes, what you've always done. Turn death into a fighting chance to live. It's interesting, folks, because Star Trek fans that is an emotional moment for most Star Trek fans. And yet for the writer and producer of that movie, who was in Vietnam, for him to crash land a helicopter, hey, we just get another one. He was like, he didn't realize what he was just doing by destroying the Enterprise. He was educated shortly thereafter, but that's okay. DA says that I teared up a bit when I typed that quote. Yeah, I do remember that one. Marla was correcting us. Flute is on Inner Light. Also, Tapestry is awesome. DA says, how about when Cisco deliberately left his baseball in the office? Oh my goodness. That was an incredible scene as well. And what's his face? Wayun. What is that? And I have my baseball right here. Oh my goodness, there it is. I've done that. I have my baseball on my desk, and it's because of that scene where Ducat says, it's a message. He's telling me that he'll be back. Wow. It was some really good stuff on DS9. I'm not asking you for your favorite, but what would you turn in tune into if it was on?
Right
As
now,
far as sure, yeah. If you had a choice, where would you go to right now?
of the different Star Trek series,
Of everything, yeah.
I will always watch TOS. That's what I grew up with. That's what got me pulled into this thing in the first place.
Yeah.
When I was in grade school, on my notebook, I drew the Enterprise fighting Cylons and Colonial Vipers versus X-Wings. I mixed it all up, but the Enterprise was always first. And so TOS is still my favorite.
Yeah.
And Deep Space Nine's my number 2 now. It edged out Next Generation.
Yeah, DS9, an incredible storyline all the way through.
And the characters they created and everything they put through the characters. And even taking what was kind of a one-off with Nog and what he went through and how he grew as a character. They could be so serious and deal with such strong issues, and then they turn around and do Little Green Men.
But now everything's explained. So now we know who was there. It's great. It's great.
Though, of all the connections I've seen on television and movies and stuff, I actually could see a Little Green Man. that one was funny. Hell, even Futurama did a riff on that one when they went back to Roswell. Oh my goodness!
But I'm really lucky right now, or at least my wife and I probably think we're lucky. I don't know if my daughters think we're quite so lucky. But there's a network, H&I, Heroes and Icons. I don't know if you're familiar with that channel.
No, I'm not.
I watch it all the time.
But they do 6 nights a week. They start off with TOS, then TNG, then DS9, then Voyager, and then Enterprise.
Every 5-6 nights a week.
6 nights a week. They take off Saturdays. So Sunday through Fridays. So we can catch Star Trek every night.
Wow, that is cool. Have you caught the animated series Lower Decks?
Yes. To be honest, I think Lower Decks was the best out of the new series. I liked Picard. I've really struggled with Discovery. I'm still 2/3 of the way through the first season on Discovery.
That's why.
I just couldn't get into the characters, and their version of the Klingons really bugged me so much.
Oh, yeah.
So
it bugged me. For me, it was much easier as I've told the story because you had Orville. Everyone's getting bored of this story because they know my love of Star Trek and stuff. They would ask me, "Hey, so what do you like better, Orville or Discovery?" And I think I had the best answer back then. So, twice a week, my youngest daughter sits down to watch both programs with me. You tell me which one's better. So we did, and my daughter, my youngest, is hooked on the Discovery and Picard, and I watch them because of her. And oh my goodness, Below Decks. I have enjoyed Below Decks. The 3rd episode to this day, I don't know why. I saw the episode, and if I would have had my baseball, I was so mad. I don't know why, but I would have. I was angry. I was insulted for some reason, and now I look back and I see the 3rd episode again. Why the hell was I angry? I don't know. Something struck a nerve when I saw the episode, and I think I was done with Lower Decks. But no, I've enjoyed it. For those of you that haven't seen it, I'm sorry.
You've got to stick with it because the first couple episodes, you're just wondering what you're watching until you finally catch on to what humor they're really after. And then it actually gets kind of interesting.
I know I'm going to blow it. I don't want to say anything, but Ross, I don't know about you, and Michael, I'm not sure if we talked about it, but these are 30-minute episodes. The last episode to Lower Decks played like a movie.
It was fun.
Oh,
it did. Yeah.
In the cameos.
My goodness. It was awesome. And it had it was awesome. It was. There were moments where I was worried what was going to happen, and it looked like they were screwed big time. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And then the dramatic Star Trek moments and the fanfare. Oh my! I was watching it over and over and over. That part where again, I don't want to reveal anything because I know some people haven't seen it, but when the cameo takes place, wow! I lost my mind.
It was great.
I loved it. I was telling my daughter, Mika, come over here. Have you seen the last episode yet? And she's like, no, get over here. Let's go get dinner. You're watching the episode. No, we'll watch it first.
And I need to stick with Discovery. I need to get through because I want to see Anson Mount as Pike.
He's wonderful.
I fell in love with him.
That's honestly what made me go back, because I quit, and I'll admit this, I quit Discovery at episode 3. And I said, I can't deal with this. But then I saw clips of Anson doing Pike on the net, and I went, oh, I like this. Oh, maybe I need to go back to Discovery and just get through this. And I did. I got through season 1, and season 2 I just loved.
Well, I'm going to take that as encouragement because I saw him in another series, Hell on Wheels.
Yeah.
That had Cole Meany in it too.
Mm-hmm.
And about a very fictionalized version of the Transcontinental Railroad. I actually live about 50 miles from where the Golden Spike took place.
Promontory Point?
Yep.
Really?
But I fell in love with Anson Mount during that series. And so when I heard he was going to be Pike, that really piqued my interest.
Young man, I don't know in which episode, but and Michael has seen it, but there is a moment of just sheer horror for the Anson Mount character. I can say this because we know what is coming, and he sees it, and help me out in it, Michael. We joke about it in sports talk with the guys. The testicular fortitude. To know
it is just seeing when. So I don't want to spoil too much, but when he sees his potential future, he just doesn't know what to think. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but he has a choice.
I've already had it spoiled.
Oh, have you? Oh, well, I don't want to spoil it, but he has a choice to make.
Yeah, and he makes the choice.
And he makes the choice.
My God.
And it is heart-wrenching. It is heart-wrenching.
That is good drama. And I'm sorry, Ross. All right, you know what we're talking about. But
I do.
I was watching it again because of my daughter. We would talk about it ad infinitum, ad absurdum, the entire series. And it was great. I have someone in the family with me. And then the 3rd season rolled around. And for me, it was an emotional mess. They got me from the very beginning in the 3rd season. And I was using that all over my Facebook for the longest time. You know, it struck an emotional chord with me. And I took several of the lines from that year and used them. I peppered them throughout my posts throughout the year. So I don't want to... If you can get through season 1, Ross, I think there's a bit of payoff in seasons 2 and 3.
I hope so.
Yeah. I've
heard there is, and not just from you two. I've heard it from others as well. So I just need to buckle down and do it.
Well, it's not easy. It is not, and it's not. But there's a bit of payoff. So I'm looking forward to what's going to be happening in season 4. And I just found out today that August 12th, 1 month from today, Lower Decks. So I am real happy about that. Yeah, 1 month from today, Lower Decks returns. I'm really jazzed about that. So hopefully we'll get some more. What are you showing us right there?
I'm bringing up just one of my other hobbies is model railroading. So I have an N-scale model railroad. But I like Easter eggs. I mentioned that before. So if you look here on my model railroad, tucked away, I have a toss away team. And I don't know if I'll show up. Uhura, McCoy, poor red shirt.
Yeah.
Kurt,
Oh, I missed the
Spock,
red shirt.
Scotty,
He's on the floor.
and Scotty's holding a phaser at the deer.
That's about right. That is awesome.
So I had to sneak that in.
My model train set is put away. You said your N gauge?
N scale, yeah. I'm
N
small.
scale. I'm going to start up one again sometime next year.
Run
I
away.
don't know if I'm going O
Here we go.
or if I'm going to go with a smaller scale. O's, I think, one of the most common, correct?
HO is the most common.
HO,
It-
yeah. Okay.
O is big, and if you're doing it inside, O is hard to do.
And
You know
Z
what?
is the small one, right?
Okay, I know Z is a small one. I think I was thinking of HO, yeah. Because that one is the most common. You can buy train sets from sports teams, companies, and stuff.
Mhm.
So, yeah. I'm hoping to have my property with the backyard, and I want to do one on the outside. Heck yeah. Is yours indoors or outdoors, Ross?
It's indoors. N scale is small, so it's indoors.
That is cool. I like that little Easter egg. That is cool.
So I
Do
just
you
brought-
have other pictures on that on your site somewhere? Oh, there it is. Oh, that is so cool. Yep. I am a railroad fan myself, both of model and real life.
And so I modeled the early 50s transition era. So I've got early diesels and some late steam engines.
Yep.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
see that right there.
these represent buildings that are in my general neighborhood, the valley. I grew up near Logan, Utah, and so all these buildings represent things in the Cache Valley is what it's called. So the town I live in is called Trenton. That's Trenton Feed, and on the photo backdrop in the background, that's the modern Trenton Feed.
Oh,
And
wow.
the old buildings are torn down, and now it's all just big silos. But this is closer to what it used to look like.
I'm in hog heaven. This is beautiful.
But I'm not sure what else I've got there.
No, it's cool. That
Train-wise.
is sweet. If
That's
you
it
have
for
some
train.
pictures. That is neat. You have a lot of folders there, young man. Oh, look at there. There she
This
is.
is the rendezvous. This is the USS Rendezvous.
Yep. That's a fine ship right there.
And
The imagery is beautiful.
the backdrop is several layers of nebula created by Ali Rise, who does a lot of the book illustration covers.
Yes.
She creates the nebulas that people put their ships in front of for the Star Trek novels. We became friends in that same 3D Sci-Fi Renders group, and she shared a bunch of these different components of nebula to the group. And so I saved them all, of course, and was able to build this up from about 3 different nebulas and put them on top of a star field and then render the rendezvous inside of it. I actually used that same image with the Alexander, I think it was, when we did that one episode for the Alexander, when they first fly into the nebula.
Ross,
Right. Mm-hmm.
the angle of the ship, wow. That is sweet. And I love the highlights, of course, of the running lights. That is sweet.
I like
There's
this one because it
a
was
lot
so
of
moody.
detail in there. Yes.
It looks cold and alone.
There's a purple hue, I guess, or a purple color just beneath the ship and to the right of it. Wow. It adds flavor.
I've got a vertical version that's my phone back wallpaper.
Wow. That's an absolutely beautiful image.
So I don't need to take you through all the images I've done.
But that is a treat. DA loved it. That was a
There we
great
go.
image. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's a NASA image on the background.
I was about to say, it was like, isn't that a real?
Is that the Horseshoe Nebula? No.
It's not Horsehead. It's in one of the NGCs. I don't think it has a name. It's just a number.
Yeah.
But it's one of the NASA deep space images off Hubble.
Mm.
I have a whole directory of different nebula from NASA that I've used as backdrops for different images for the ships of the 7th Fleet.
Yes,
So I've done a lot of images for each of the clubs for their ships.
Images of the 7th Fleet. Is there like a website or something devoted to the images? Oh no, I think I'm thinking of Tales of the 7th Fleet.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And that's a different group completely.
Different group, yeah.
Right, but they did some really cool stuff a long time ago.
Mm-hmm. They did.
Yeah.
Now, our group joined, when we joined up as a fleet, some of the other clubs were part of, I think it was Starfleet International, or that they were members of, and that went defunct. And so instead of just going rogue, everybody on their own, we all banded together. And one of the last things they did was they promoted Dennis Hollinger, who was on here earlier, I don't know if he still is or not, to Admiral over the 7th Fleet. And we chose the 7th Fleet because of what happened to the 7th Fleet in Deep Space Nine, because you just see the survivors.
Oh.
It's the first fleet that goes off to fight the Dominion, yes. And you see, it's the cliffhanger of the season. You see this huge fleet of over 100 ships, and they all go flying off to battle. Then the next season starts up, and it's just this red tag group of ships coming back. And
right.
Where the Starfleet International went under, that was kind of the feeling, is that we were the survivors. And so we took 7th Fleet as our moniker.
Yeah, well, it was in that episode, I believe it's A Time to Stand, where they're heading back, but they're like, hey, 7th Fleet is going to engage them. If anyone can take them on, it should be them. And then they find out, what was it, 14 ships of 112 made it back?
Yeah, it was just, 10% or so. The other little bit of trivia on our registry number, 1896.
Yes.
That happens to be the year Utah became a state.
Cool. And there he is. Yes, he still is. Thank you, Dennis.
And so our ship, the USS Rendezvous, the part of Utah we're in is called Cache Valley, Cache. And the early fur trappers came through this area and actually had a mountain men rendezvous right here in the valley. And they would cache their pelts and bury them until it was time for the rendezvous, and they'd unbury them. So I live in Cache Valley. There were rendezvous here. And so when we were putting our ship together, and we decided just to tie in as much as we could with the local history. So we're the Rendezvous. And it's, the Utah State number happened to be in that series for the Cyan class, so we stole it. That's my favorite ship. That and the movie Enterprise.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Dennis. He's still with us, which is really cool. So, like I say, hopefully, Ross, you join us again, and Dennis, that would be neat. We can talk some fan club stuff. Like I said, I think the last fan club, we had 2 or 3 join us. The last one we had was the USS Angeles, based out of Los Angeles, which is just around the corner. And these were the kids that were involved with Hidden Frontier, to name a few. And they did some videos, the adventures of the USS Angeles, in the late 90s, early 2000s. They were the predecessor to Hidden Frontier. It was really kind of cool.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know how many people are listening here, but if there's people in a club that have friends that want to do something like this, Randy's a great example of showing you don't need a big budget. We didn't have a budget for ours either. The biggest expense we had was we built that silly shuttle, which it was kind of expensive, but it came out of our pockets. There was no fundraising or anything. We just chipped in, and when we needed to buy something, somebody went and got it. So if we needed more sheets of the plywood, we went and bought more sheets of plywood. But we had fun. Some of it was sweat equity. It's a board of inquiry, so we needed a conference room. Well, one of the local towns here has an old theater that was kind of in disrepair. And so we volunteered to go in and clean up the stage and repaint the stage. And we got their spotlight working again. And in exchange, they opened up the theater to us. And so we went in and we built our entire set on the stage in this theater. And that became our conference room. So we had nice theater lights to light the conference room. And if you watch The Inquiry, that conference room is actually the stage in an old movie theater in a little town of about 5,000 people.
Yeah,
So,
sometimes you can find places that you can do this kind of stuff. You don't have to build all the sets. You also have the green screen. That if you don't have the money to build sets, you can have a few props and do some green screen work. It takes a little time to get it down, but you can do it.
there are great videos on how to do green screen. Hit Film Express, free program out there. It'll do green screening for you. It'll give you effects. You can do phaser fire. You can animate torpedoes in it a little bit. It doesn't have all the features of the full version of Hit Film, which I do have, but it's a great introduction, and it has the video editor built into it. So you can do your editing there. You can do some nice effects there and experiment. And either the full version, or you can buy for like $20 or $25, I'm not sure how much, a 3D kit for it. And then it'll import light wave objects. It'll import wavefront OBJ files. And then you can have your 3D objects. And you can fly them around in Hit Film and animate them from there. And so it's a great little resource. And I do my animating in Electric Image, but then I'll take it into Hit Film to add the effects shots. That's where the phasers come in for me, because it has its own particle generator in the full version, or you can buy it for the free version a little bit. The other great resource out there is Blender. Blender is a free 3D program that lets you model, lets you animate, and there are tutorials for that and Hit Film all over YouTube.
Ross, we've been dancing about how you do what you do. You've enlightened us. I think I've deliberately taken us off on tangents, and it's my fault.
I like tangents.
I'm
the first one to chase the squirrel.
Okay, fair enough. But you talking about, I had no idea that you possibly use 2, if not 3, or more different software programs. I was under the assumption, I was under the assumption that you just used one program and that was it.
No, my workflow, I'm using Illustrator and Photoshop. I'm using most of the Adobe stuff.
Okay.
So Illustrator, I'll create nice high-resolution decals. And if I need to edit something, I'll do that in Photoshop. I do my rendering in Electric Image Animation System. And again, that's been around forever. Before Maya came along, before 3ds Max came along, Electric Image was in Hollywood big time. The Star Wars prequels used Electric Image. Yoda was animated in Electric Image. So it's been around that long. But and that was like version 2 back then. They're getting ready to release version 10 here.
Yeah, okay.
So I do my rendering in Electric Image. I do my effects work in Hit Film, but I'm still more comfortable doing my actual editing in Premiere. So I'll do my effects shot in Hit Film and export it as its own little shot, but then I'll assemble everything in Premiere if I'm doing a story. If I'm doing just an effects shot for Randy, I'll just do it in Hit Film, render it from there, and send him that little clip, that little video for whatever, 25 seconds.
25 seconds.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing a full project, I'll do that in Premiere, because part of my real life job is do product support videos for Campbell Scientific. And so if you go to the Campbell Scientific webpage, their webpage or their YouTube page, there's about 120 videos I've done for them there. They're not the fun, exciting, hey, come buy this. They're you just bought this. This is how it works. This is how you set it up. And we sell data loggers that are the brains for weather stations, or measurement devices for strain gauges on bridges and dams. And it's a lot of, we help let's see, we helped the National Geographic Society create the weather station that went up on Everest a year and a half ago.
Wow. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
They worked with us, and we designed it, and we came up with the custom tripods, and it was our enclosures, and it's our hardware inside there that are the brains. So we have fun toys here.
Oh.
But I get to make all these videos, so I spend most of my time in Premiere to do editing, so that's just where I'm more comfortable. But at the same time, I'm more comfortable using hit film than I am After Effects, even though I have both. Just because I find the workflow easier.
Would it be very difficult, and I'm not saying right now or ever, I'm just curious, would it be a big deal to be able to show people what you do on screen? Not necessarily record your screen, but with the technologies of today, like Skype, where you can share your screen. Did you ever think of maybe doing something like that?
For a living, to really show lots of people?
Well, maybe that, or just like little helpful YouTube videos and stuff. Or are you giving away trade secrets?
Not really giving away trade secrets in any way, shape, or form.
Have you ever thought of doing anything like that?
Not really, to be honest.
Okay, no, I'm sure. Yeah, it's a big deal. What are we bringing up right here, right now?
This is electric image. This is what I do my 3D rendering in. So there's the Webster there.
So you have just answered my question. You're showing us right now. This is incredible.
So this is just a preview animation. You can see.
Yes.
The ship is flying.
Oh, wow.
And this is what I just actually rendered. And so I've turned off the planet. So it's just the ship. But if I stop that and come here and turn the planet back on, now if I tell it to play. Now I'm not going to sit here and render this just because
it'll take forever.
Right.
It'll take forever. This is several minutes. Oh, I didn't get my planet show. There it is.
There it is.
So there's the planet. Those were actually rendered in 2 passes. I did just the planet and I did just the ship. So if I...
About 40 minutes ago, when you were talking about the passes, I remembered watching one of the specials for The Next Generation. I think it was for the 5th season or 4th season finale, when they were talking about a scene where the Enterprise and a Vorcha attack cruiser are sitting there, and this is when a Klingon vertebrate comes in to attack them. Gowron has just been named Chancellor, and they talked about all the scenes, all the passes that they had to do to render one shot. They talked about the beauty pass, the matte pass, all that stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to show the Enterprise just flying by, there's what, 8, 9, 10 elements that you have to put. Oh wow, look at that.
So that was just the foreground of one frame. That's how long it took to render just the ship.
Right. Wow. One frame in a 50 frame
second. Mm-hmm.
DA's asking, is that the Chimera class?
Centaur.
That's a Centaur, yeah. Okay. That is sweet. So, how many passes or how many elements are involved here?
So in here, I'm zooming in so you can see, I've got a camera here.
Yes.
And this is a motion path of the ship. So here is the Webster, and here's the planet. Now, if I were to go in and expand this out. So Earth, this is the planet. So you have your basic sphere, but it has a haze sphere. So there's a second sphere on top of the first sphere. The atmosphere, which is a third sphere on top of the second sphere. And then also a cloud layer, which is between the haze and the surface. So that's just the Earth. You've got these 4 objects.
So do you refer to those as object? Well, you just did. Are those referred to as elements?
my terminology has usually been object.
Oh, okay. All
Now,
right.
if I come in here, let's see, it's Earth, and I'm actually using a map for the planet Endor in this case. There's a color map. But see, I have geometry as my bump map for height, if I were to be using that here, which in this case I'm not. Specular is the highlights. I can throw an ambient light on it. Reflectivity, I can control how reflective an object is. Transparency, I can turn it, transparent or partially transparent. Works great for windows. Luminance, if it's giving off light. Transmission, that's best way to explain transmission is, say you had your hand in front of you and you had a bright flashlight and you put it up against your hand, you could see the light coming through the gaps in your fingers.
Yes.
That's transmission. That's light getting through the object. So you're making it more kind of translucent versus solid or transparent. It still looks solid, but light does creep through.
Yes.
And you can have multiple maps in each one of those to build everything up. Now, if I come to the centaur over here and unhide the objects, so this is all the elements that make up the centaur.
Quite a bit.
And so they're all, you see it's kind of structured. This is a parent object. So they're all parented to this object, which is just a null. It's just a point. But by moving that point, everything that's parented to it is going to follow it. And if I turn that point, pivot it in a direction, everything does the same pivot. That's how I can get the ship to bank and turn.
Wow.
And a lot of these, like from here down, where it says magic light, I don't know if you can read any of that, magic light and hemispheres that I just highlighted, those are actually the running lights and the strobe lights on the ship that I added afterwards. So that way, as the ship's flying, it has the green and red lights, the running lights go on and off, kind of slow, but then the white strobe lights are going blink, blink, blink. And on the Webster, I went crazy on it, so it doesn't just go blink, blink. It goes blink, 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 blink.
Yeah.
Well, I was having fun. When I did that shot of the whole fleet getting together, I varied every ship's lighting pattern, so none of them matched up.
Oh, wow.
So they might be 10 frames different. So every once in a while you'd see two match up, but then they'd get out of sync with each other. And
do you gentlemen remember the name of that episode? The one that we're talking about where...
Webster? It's launch.
Okay, it's Webster.
Yeah, it's the launch. That was, for me, a lot of work on that one. Because that's the one I had to get them out of space dock. And those were some long renders. Putting the camera inside space dock took a while to get rendered out. And I really do cheat as much as possible. You were talking about seeing the lighting pass, the shadow pass, the ambient pass. I can render out that way, but for most of these, I don't.
It just takes too long.
It takes too long, and then I don't want to have to take the time to take 5 layers every time I render out in Photoshop, break them out, and then compile them into an actual animation sequence. And just the raw render with everything in place works pretty good for what we're doing here. I'm worth every penny. What can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I have yet to see one, but I'm worth it.
Wow.
And I wouldn't ask for one because I'm playing in somebody else's sandbox.
It is absolutely impressive. I wasn't expecting you to do this, but it's amazing just to get an idea. I believe many people involved in Potemkin Pictures don't know what you do.
They do not. That's why I wanted Ross on, because I knew most people do not know what he does. And what, most all the people that they never see do. Because the only person you have met in Potemkin is me, right, Ross?
Yeah. And at the time,
and I wasn't,
no clue I was going to ever meet again. No, you're just that arrogant guy on the next table.
That's true.
Who I thought was mad at us for a while.
No.
May I, Ross?
That's just one of the objects that make up the centaur that I brought up.
I don't have, I'm going to beg forgiveness from Randy, but I found that scene and it's right here. Okay. Would you describe? There's going to be no sound because unfortunately I can't get the sound here.
Okay, so we're already out of space dock here.
Yeah, okay, yes. Can you describe to? Do you want me to back up a little bit more?
Well, are you just telling me can't talk? It must be
I
getting
know. I
late here.
apologize. You can describe.
You're still too far back. Yeah.
Okay, so you want here. What this is there are 3 layers to this animation. The planet and the stars are the background. You can pause
Tell
it
me
there for a
this.
second.
Okay. Yes.
I'll take it back so you can see it. So
Yeah, take it back further, Roger.
that's fine right there for
Oh,
right
is it?
now.
Okay.
So the planet is its own object, and the stars. I rendered that out as its own layer, called it background. And then the starbase is in there second as its own layer, and it's rendered as an image sequence that I called starbase. So I could put it in there. And it's static. It's really just sitting there. The only thing it gets is camera movement, because there is a slight pullback of the camera. So that's animated as it's pulling back and pivoting just a little bit with the Webster. And then the last element is the ship itself, which you see does a 90-degree roll because it's coming out of space dock, so it had to have that orientation. But then, that's not how ships fly away from planets in Star Trek. So I needed to rotate 90 degrees. And I thought that was a nice look, because it rotated 90 and then flew past, over your shoulder past the camera. And so that was the idea on that shot.
This is it.
And then he left out a shot here where you see the ship's gathering. And I'm on the wrong computer to show you the missing shot.
Okay.
But he wanted to show the fleet all gathering together to get everything. And this was fun because when I bring in a new ship, the first thing I do is I drop a ground plane under it. Just a big square. And then I find out what the length is of the ship that it's supposed to be. And then I scale that ground plane to that size. And then I just visually scale the ship up and down until it matches the length of that plane. And then that gets me the ship into scale, and then I get rid of the plane. And so that's how I try and scale. I think I slipped up on one of the ships. One of the ships ended up being too big. But
is that the one closest to the movie Enterprise, the one to the left?
Yeah, I think I got them a little bit too big.
Yeah, I noticed right now I was looking at this, well, maybe the Enterprise is further back. Well, the Enterprise class ship. Because over in the upper right, you have an Excelsior class, which would seem to fit, I think, size-wise.
Right. Yeah, that's actually an Excelsior, and then it's the Enterprise B. So they should be the same size. But okay. I got them off just a little bit. So that's an operator error, my fault. And so, but the idea is they're all scaled when they're separate, so that when I bring them in, they should match up, is the plan. Yeah. Wow. It's about 30-40% too big in that shot. It shouldn't
That's
quite
all
that long.
right. It's all good.
But you bring them in, and then everything's animated separately. I've already looped all the strobe lights, so that's going. And then I've got the camera moving in, then each ship is animated at its own start point where it does its rotation and pull. And I try and do different things each time. I liked having the Enterprise go right past the camera.
Yes. How long? I mean, what? Man hours? What are we looking at?
That one rendered in about 2 days. Electric Image makes full use of all your cores on the computer. And that one I rendered at work over a weekend because I've got a 10-core computer here. If I'm rendering at home, until just a couple weeks ago, I had 4 cores. And it would see the threads, so I'd have 8 threads versus 20 threads here at work. But I just got, for my birthday and Father's Day, a new laptop that has 8 cores. And so I'm almost as fast at home now as I am at work, which will make some of this a little easier because I just doubled my rendering speed.
Yes.
So that will be very nice to do some of this stuff with.
No, it's a beautiful shot, and yeah, the Enterprise coming right up. And the significance is on this one is that that's every series, correct?
That was all
Yes.
the active series, except for the Potemkin, which kind of had issues.
Right.
Because if you've seen its finale, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if there are any other scenes after this.
There's one that he was
Oh.
apologizing for because
Yeah.
he put the wrong one here.
Oh.
He didn't get the full effect on that one.
And that's the one he was talking about.
Yep. And where is it? Oh, it's on YouTube.
That is still impressive. DA says, I'm going to run, gentlemen. Awesome show. Time to get back to work. Get back to writing. Finish my book, DA.
Here's how that one's supposed to look.
Let me close this one. There it is. Go ahead. I'm going to add it to stream now.
So the difference is you'll see the warp engine start to glow.
Yes.
And then you get the whole streak that the other one didn't have, and then the flash.
Right.
So he didn't get that one in like he was supposed to.
Oh, it is all cool. That is sweet.
Anyway.
Again, Ross, wasn't expecting this. It was a treat by you showing us just a bit, because, oh my goodness, just to render that shot you mentioned earlier was 2 days. Wow.
Yeah, about 2 days. It was the full weekend. I started it Friday at 5, and I would check it. I'd VPN and check over the weekend. And I think it finished up Sunday night sometime.
Wow. Have you ever lost any shots?
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine. Jeez.
Or they didn't turn out like you thought they were supposed to.
Exactly.
That's the other.
And then you have to start over.
Start over again. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you see the preview in that window, and he goes, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then you see it rendered and go, oh.
Yeah.
Why is he going sideways? Because the preview, you don't get to see the stars and stuff as well, and you lose referencing sometime. You don't catch it until it's all put together.
Yeah, Michael's been biting his lip throughout this interview because he also does some of this, and he has a wonderful story when he was in school, Michael, and you don't share it with everyone. But what did you do one time for your kids?
Yeah, I taught it, and I think I said it in the last one when Ross was there.
Sorry.
I'll say it again. I had a class of really young students that they wanted me to teach, which were kindergarten, first and second graders, and I can't teach them how to model. They're not even gonna know what to do. I'm sure they can just barely do just the scene layout like he was showing you, when you have all the movements of everything. And I threw up an image of the Enterprise A, and the kids didn't even know what it was. They had no idea.
Which is a crime against humanity.
Yeah, which was a crime, but they had never seen it before, and they didn't know what it was. And year and a half later, the Star Trek 2009 came out. Then I had another class starting in a couple of months. They all knew what the Enterprise was. I didn't have to explain it anymore. It was like they knew exactly what ship that was. So that was great. But it was amazing. I mean, just they knew what it was, and I was so happy because nobody knew what it was before. Oh, that's a pretty ship. Where's it come from?
And again, it's just a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
But it's a darn good one.
Oh, heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So many people have contributed to it. Michael, you have in many ways. Ross, you have. And I apologize. I didn't mean that in past tense. You guys are doing that now, and it's fun because we don't have Star Trek in theater, and you guys are doing that. Yes, we have it on a pay service. Not everyone has that. It's a shame. I am a bit irritated when I hear people say, "Well, I'm not going to pay for Star Trek." Well, actually, you do when you watch it on first run television. You pay for it by watching the commercials. Same thing, but people won't pay for it without commercials. So, but it's okay. I don't want to go into that argument because that's a cliff that I've already fallen into, and I have no desire. But I do pay for it. I do watch the programs. I'm happy. I want to see Star Trek. It is some of the stuff that is on right now is a tad difficult, but it has that magical name, and I wait for those moments. DeForest Kelley said, "Star Trek, these moments that are forever with us, and it may be one, maybe 20 in an episode or a movie, but that is what made Star Trek." He didn't say great. I think he meant to, but he was so humble he wouldn't say that because he was involved in it. And it is. There are so many moments, whether it be a ship engaging the enemy in combat, whether it was Picard not knowing how to explain to an alien that he wasn't a god. And there are just so many other things in Star Trek. Who watches the Watchers? You guys know that one. We blew it in that one. We failed. We contaminated that society. Kirk, I believe it's in where he gave weapons to the aliens or to the natives to fight the Klingons. It was an allegory for Vietnam, yes, but he messed things up. He broke the Prime Directive right there. And those are things that we remember. It was a cowboy Kirk. What did Spock say? Cowboy diplomacy?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I'm just going on that one. Ross, this was your first interview, wasn't it?
Yes, ever. We went late. Didn't think we'd fill an hour.
There it is, a private little war. Really, you didn't? Well, I think we've met now. Now you know. Randy had a great deal in it, as did you. I know we are getting a little bit late. I know that I expected to go 2 hours myself, and I had material to go to fill in when you got tired of us. I didn't have to go to any of that stuff. Which is really
Who are you again?
Yeah, I know, huh? I don't have to go over any of that, which is really cool. So we are nearing the end. I don't know how much longer we're going to go, but Ross, is there anything else that you want to share with us? Anything else you want to talk about?
I think we've covered all the bases pretty good.
We have, and it was a treat sharing your point of view, and it was an even bigger treat when you actually showed us how you were doing some of that stuff. A lot of people don't know that. They don't watch the behind the scenes episodes. And you gave an insight right now, which is really cool.
It's fun to do. I mean, if you have any desire at all, pick up something like Blender. It's free. It's not going to hurt your pocketbook, and it's a powerful program.
Blender.
Blender. Blender.org is the website. And HitFilm Express is the other free one, and that's it. Just hitfilm.com.
Yeah.
So
Dennis, to get
people
it right.
can dabble.
Oh, yes.
And try it out.
You.
And watch YouTube videos because there's tutorials all over the place for all this software.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, is there a tutorial? I mean, does YouTube not have a tutorial for? It's just look for it, you'll find it. Hell, I had trouble with my Nissan Versa, the shifter, with the little button that was on there, and I looked it up, and there was videos on that. I was surprised. Not one. Like 10, 12. So, but fair enough. Again, I'm all over the place. Gentlemen, this has been a wonderful, wonderful time with you, Ross.
It has been fun.
and I thank you, Ross. I did want to say one final thing that it was nice that we were able to connect you with Randy in person. This is not the first time that we've done this on NDB Media, where we've connected people that have never spoken to each other, much less seen each other, or had them speaking to each other at the same time. One of our more famous ones was Alan. Oh wait, Mr. Tate. I forget his first name. Was it Alan Tate? Mr. Alan Carter from Space 1999.
That's going back a ways.
Yes, we interviewed him, but we were still on radio. This was about 10 years ago, with someone who had not spoken to in 20 years. So we kind of set him up. It wasn't fair. But we mentioned to him that we have someone that you may not know about or don't remember. And we brought her on the radio, and she said, hello. And it took him about 5, 6, 7 seconds. And he said, Suzanne? Is that you? Wow, what a score. They hadn't spoken to each other in over 20 years. That's one of our more of our bigger ones where they had not spoken in years, but it is fun. We've been able to connect people that have never actually met in person, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, it's always been through fingertips.
Yes,
Talking.
which is absolutely amazing. And I think my little cats are starting to get a little too interested in coming into the garage, and I got to keep them out now. But anyway, Michael.
It's been a good night.
And it has been. I thank you. I knew we would go over an hour. I figured 2 hours, but yeah, we're almost on 3. Michael,
We're almost on 3. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any last thoughts?
Well, I just like to thank Ross for coming. I know, I know you were a little going, but it was great. And I'm really glad you did it. And as I told you, I knew that people would be interested to see what really it takes to put some of this stuff together. Because most people have no clue. They really don't. And seeing when you threw up the screen, I mean, I was looking at that and said, yeah, I know that. That's. But other people would go, wow. Because they wouldn't have a clue. Like Roger. I mean, he just was like, I could see his eyes. He was just going, wow.
I may have said it, and I try to verbalize it. I think I said wow several times, because just when you described for the Starship, when you showed us all the different elements that were required, wow. And Ross, I was not expecting you to do this today. I was kind of maybe hoping maybe you might want to do something in the future, and yeah, you caught my drift, and
you got me here, so you might as well abuse the privilege, right?
And it's a privilege that I consider myself fortunate to have had the chance to. I have no idea. I mean, I understand what you do because I've seen many of the documentaries and stuff, but you took us through it. That was sweet. That was cool, Ross. And I don't think many people have seen. Oh, hell yeah. And I think there's going to be a lot of other people that are going to enjoy this too.
Mm-hmm.
Ross, I'm not going to talk about the numbers on air, but we've had a steady audience throughout the entire evening. There are times, humbly, when our count drops to 0. It just happens. And we know we're not talking to everyone. But the counts today, I can't wait to see what they are, but we've had quite a few people watching tonight, which is
oh, cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of people watch later, so
yes,
we kind of droned on and on, didn't we?
Maybe at the very end, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just to give you an idea, that rendezvous ship that I render out is about 250 objects.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, Ross, I'm serious. Hopefully you and Dennis would consider joining us in a future episode. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing with your club right there in the, is it 7th Fleet?
7th Fleet. Yep. Starfleet Command 7th Fleet. Website 7thfleet.org.
Yeah. I think
spelled out, not numbers.
Earlier. Yeah. When Tim was here, I think he was helping us out with all those links, which was crazy. So it was early in the episode. We'll see if we find it. But all right, fair enough. Oh, there's a Facebook group. There it is. There's Facebook, and then we have seventhfleet.org, just as mentioned. All right. Well, we're good. Ross, I learned a great deal. I thank you for the time that you've given us. You were figuring maybe an hour. Well, 2 hours, 50 minutes. We're good. I'm not going to belabor it anymore. You've been gracious with your time. Thank you for sharing, educating us. Thank you for sharing your passion. Ross, I know there's no financial compensation in this, but
There's other ways to be compensated,
yeah,
and it's
It
worth
is.
it. It's fun.
it is. It shows. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. We appreciate what you guys are doing there. And it was really cool sharing the stories that you do outside of Potemkin Pictures as well. That was neat.
Mhm.
If at any time you want advertising, you're working on some projects, Ross, let us know, man. We'd be more than
All
happy
right.
to share. Hell yeah. I mean, yes, full speed ahead and all that stuff. Michael? All right, Michael, you set this one up, boy. Why don't you take us away?
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And visit us next week, Monday evening, for Roger Noriega and the Nightmare Hunter. Or join Saturday morning for Sports Guys talking about all the sports events for the week and other NDB media. Lovely programs on the air, which I can't remember them all. I think everybody else has gone off that is involved with them. So
Yeah, it's almost every night of the week. We have Monday Night in America, of course, or The Nightmare Hunter. Tuesday night, we have Fandom Access on our radio network. On Wednesday night, we have Travel Talk Radio. And every other Wednesday, we have the world famous Rock and Roll Shrink. He is based out of Miami, Florida. On Thursday, we have Travel Edge Radio. Friday's open for the time being, but we're going to have a new program, Spoiler Cast, every other Friday, debuting this Friday. Saturday morning, Sports Talk with the Guys. DA Verse is at 7 p.m. Pacific, all times Pacific, 7 p.m. on Saturday night. On Sunday, we have The Walking Dead with Casey Shapiro, and we have Jedi Tax Online, as well as State of the Nerd, and a few other things on Sunday night. So it's a varied schedule. Maybe we might be able to give Potemkin Pictures a run for their money, but they actually prepare. We just do it. They're actually good at what they do. We just talk. So there it is. Again, Ross, peace and long life. Look forward to speaking to you in the future. Everyone else, thanks, folks. We're out of here. Nightmare Hunter next Monday. We'll see you guys on the other side. Hey!
bye-bye.
See ya.